Can anyone hear me? Give me I think I'm live. Gosh dang, StreamYard is completely, totally different. Completely, totally different. It took me forever to get it set up with all the other stuff. Can you hear me okay? Someone can give me a thumbs up or a hey or a yeah or anything of the sort. That'd be great. It shows on my end live. You can hear me? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I know it's last minute. I just threw it up today. I've been talking for weeks about coming back to YouTube to do some live streaming. Things just kept happening. Sound a little low. Okay. Thank you. Let me up it a little bit. I think I have some videos today. And it might. Is that better? And gotta work out the kinks here for a minute, y'all, before we get started. Hey, Wandering Scorpio, good to see you. Tater and Ocean. Hey, Mo, good to see you. Hey, I caught your Mo. I caught your rumble. I've recently went and binge watched to get caught up on all of the crazy scammer of the century bombshell content, and man, I just can't be. I couldn't be more proud of you. You were destroying her one video at a time, and it's pretty great. I'm not sure if Matthew's still here. Hello, and Juju's Rabbit Hole. Good to see you too. I got the light shining behind me a little bit. Let's see. Good to see you, Wandering Scorpio. Man, it's been forever. The last time I jumped on a live stream was because Trash Bag Amber was trying to cop a stream and rewrite history. There's just so many people that do that, right? So many people that just like, oh, let me go back and change what happened so it benefits my narrative today. Blah. To them, blah. To those people. Hey, Dr. J Banana. Wow, it's so cool to see you. I feel like I haven't seen some of you in years because it really has been that long. There's only been a couple chats that I've been hanging out in lately, which I'm going to talk about today. I've had some emails. I hadn't logged into, hey, Twist and Chow. I hadn't logged into the Vilomah.Unstuck emails for quite some time. I've been super busy, had a lot of stuff going on. I'm going to share some of that with you tonight to just kind of explain, because I feel like I couldn't talk. I couldn't be open about things that were going on in real life, places that I was going, things like that. So I had to back away for that reason. I'll get into it a little bit. There's some of it that I'm still not ready to fully disclose and talk about, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm getting to that point. Norfolk Southern can suck off. I hate that company. There used to be a troll that would come into my chats and say, what would they say? CST Railroad or something. Listen, fuckface. Never had it right. All the mud you tried to sling about my work accident, about whatever to do with railroading, you fucking had it wrong. And I can say it. I could say it. Norfolk Southern. That was the railroad. Some of you are just dipshits. And I see that never changes. On top of the railroad accident injury, the on-duty injury coming to an end, and the legal, hey, what the actual, it's so good to see you. I love hanging out with you. I see Wilbur and Flavis. Good to see you. I know, right? Twist and Shout, it has been forever. Like literally forever. It's been 2 years plus. 2 years plus. Totally 2 years plus. True Texan, good to see you. Hey, Peachy, the Problem Punch. How are you? It's been a long time. And it does something to your psyche when you're going through real life crazy shit that you can't talk about with anybody. You can't share it with anybody. You have to keep it to yourself. And you're on the internet. and you have a disagreeing opinion or a differing opinion with someone else, and then that person uses everything in their power to not only find out who you are, but do anything to just like completely destroy your life. And it's gross, it's sick. Too many people get involved with it. But that's why I couldn't be on the internet when going through the legal pursuit against Norfolk Southern in federal court. It was horrible. It was just flat out horrible. There's been a lot going on. I'm going to touch base on that. But I got some cool pictures and videos to show you from my journey over the last 2 years. Healing, getting back to a better place, getting back on my feet, getting situated, getting back in my head, letting go of a lot of crazy dumb shit that just really didn't matter. It really didn't. The one thing that's always going to matter is that Bombshell is a scammer. She's a lying, grifting, shitty human who just comes to the internet to beg and scam. And Mo is handling that and doing lovely at it. She's kicking it. It's funny. At this point, it's funny. Like it's no longer like I hate that bitch. It's more of, it's funny to finally see Karma smack her and put her where she's meant to be, where she put herself. She done it to herself. Twist and shout. It really did. It really did. It really absolutely did. I couldn't be happier where I'm at today. Obviously, life and things are not always perfect, but for the shit that I've gone through since Cody passed away until today, the things that were out of my control, that I didn't have any conscious decisions in making, but had to suffer the consequences, being uprooted, being tossed into hiding, not being able to be vocal, having people trying to find me. I'm not talking about internet people. That's always going to happen, but there's been so much, but I am so happy today. I am so happy today. I'm surrounded by amazing people that all have found a purpose in life. They're all happy. They're secure with who they are. They're giving. They're kind. They're supportive, not just to me, but to everyone around them. They're that people. They're supportive of everyone in their life, everyone that they care about. They do the right thing regardless. And I'm so happy. I'm still in West Virginia. I decided to make this place home forever. And yeah, I'm super stoked. I'm happy. I'm ready to come back to live streaming on a regular basis, sharing life with you. I have some photos and videos of some pretty cool places that I had the chance to go visit, people that I got the chance to meet, things that I got to do that I never thought I would ever get to do, to share with you tonight. And then, yeah, I think I'd like to stream about some of those things, because whether you're in a situation like that where you feel like your back's against the wall and everybody and anybody is trying to hunt you down to make you shut your mouth or telling the truth against Norfolk Southern Railroad, God, I fucking hate them so much. Or you're just grieving, or life's got you down. You get into that mental mindset. Sometimes you want to give up. Sometimes you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm telling you, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Like, got some things knocked off my bucket list, spent a lot of time with my family, got through some pretty rough shit, but lived to tell the story about it. But thank you for that, Twist and Shout. It did. Everything went really well. Everything's been good. Madness, had her. Saw you a couple times. Yes, Melanie Little. I really like Melanie Little. Yeah, there's always so many people in there. And truthfully, a lot of times I had the chat turned off because I was so into the Karen Reed case. Her first trial started popping off right around the same time that my legal pursuit started off. And even though two completely different ends of the spectrum with, thank you, Tater, two different ends of the spectrum with legal, I felt very much like I could relate to Karen Reed being backed into a corner, being framed, having, the whole world against her at one point. Having to ask strangers for help, had to go to, put your trust into strangers like Alan Jackson and, really have a fair shot in court to tell her side of the story. And then look what happened. The news headlines went from she killed her boyfriend cop, ran him over with the car, to clearly she didn't have anything to do with what happened to John O'Keefe. And yeah, I just very much got involved in that case. I couldn't stop watching. I found Melanie Little's channel, a couple of the other channels, and I got stuck over there for a long time. Now I spend a lot of my time watching body cam videos on different channels. But yeah, YouTube will take you anywhere. It was definitely a trial of chaos. Definitely. Yeah, having the chat off helped me focus more on what was going on the trial, who was testifying and things like that. Yeah, it's going to be a long time for her. I feel horrible that she doesn't really get to ever say when it's over. I feel really bad about that. Yeah, Melanie Little, she's an awesome attorney that does live stream. I'm sure everybody here knows. Anybody watching on the replay, Melanie Little is just, she makes it understandable. And I feel like her outreach comes from a place of understanding, having walked in the shoes of a lot of the people that she's talking about. I watched a lot of the Kelsey Fitzsimmons trial. There's been other ones that I've watched too, but Karen Reed, it really got me. And I loved seeing the community and strangers all across the globe turn around and stand up in support of her once the trial. I mean, before the trial, I was with a lot of people, and I thought, you know, how else could it have happened? How else could he have died? But I think probably about witness 4 of the first trial, I said, wait a minute. What do you mean you didn't go in the house? You didn't even go in the house? They didn't investigate anybody in the house? So I had a lot of the same thoughts and opinions that juror number 1, or the foreman of the first trial, when he spoke out about being the foreman of the jury. I shared a lot of opinions about him. Anybody else in the country, if a body was found outside of your home, you think they're not going to knock on doors and come in your house and talk to everybody that was in the house? I bet you they do. Yeah, she's a force. I really like her. Yeah, Higgy Bear. Loophole Lawyer. That's another channel that I found during that trial. Loophole Lawyer. You all probably know who that is. If not, I'll grab the link and drop it in the comment section afterwards. But Loophole Lawyer is another one that's funny, that dumbs it down, that keeps it fact-based, evidence, uses their words against them, kind of thing. And pretty good. I enjoy it. And I love the legal stuff now, having gone through a lot of it myself, not that way, the civil side of it. And seeing the tactics and the ways that the opposition, the other side, the bad people, the bad guys, seeing the way that they hide evidence and manipulate evidence and create evidence out of thin air, smear campaigns, anything that they can use against you. I remember being asked if I was in the right frame of mind on the day that I went to work, when I was yanked off the side of a car by a runaround hose that was not properly secured or applied, knocked unconscious, dragged 580 feet after I reported it, before they ordered me to make the move. I said on the radio, can someone come double check the safety? Twice. And I was threatened with my job. Are you refusing to perform your duties? Nope. There's just so much crazy shit, edited videos of the accident with blur filters. Just so much dumb shit. So now I'm addicted to the legal stuff. Completely addicted to it. Yes, microdots too. Man, the way microdots took the testimony and turned it into graphics and then made videos to explain the house, the layout of the house, where people were at. Yeah, it was phenomenal. Really puts it, for people who live all across the world that would never go there, have never been in the home, don't know who any of these people are, what the road conditions look like, the curves, any of that stuff. Microdots really takes you there. So super fortunate. Super fortunate. Yeah, corruption at its finest. How have you guys been doing now? Has everything been good with y'all? While wandering, I'm gearing up to tell the story of the accident with Norfolk Southern, including showing evidence from discovery, showing the videos, showing the photos, the recordings. I'm getting it put together. I've been working on it for the last year, but I've just had so much stuff pop up. And I'll be truthful with you. Every opportunity that I've had to spend time with family or friends, I've jumped on it. I've not said no once. Every opportunity, being locked up, hiding, telling the truth to the government about a company like Norfolk Southern was super scary. Was probably one of the scariest things I've ever went through in my life. Having bloody tongues delivered to my house, people sitting outside of my house, people following me everywhere I went, even up to the point when my mother passed away. 3 years to the day after my accident was scary. And I can't even explain what it did mentally, having to, not being able to walk outside, to go places, having to clear things with people, telling the truth or blowing the whistle, if you want to call it that, is scary. It's very scary. And for a lot of people, it does lead to the end of their life. And when you're on social media and you have a bunch of bombshell supporters that just want to see you dead, it's like, you gotta take a step back and hide out for a while. And that's what I did. But since then, my birth mother passed away, but I was able to spend some time with her before. I spent some time with her family in Ohio. I spent some time with friends. I've traveled. I've just done some pretty cool, life-changing things to help get me back, get me back to myself. And I want to share some of that with you guys today. And then later stream about some of these places, because places like Uvalde, Texas, where the Robb Elementary School shooting happened, that place changed me in a completely different way. And having communicated with some of the families and community members since going there has been amazing. Has been absolutely amazing. Oh, thank you, Madness Hatter. It was rough. It was rough. But I know she's in a better place. She was very sick. She had a lot of infection going on, a lot of medical issues, and being able to go there to Ohio and spend time with her the last month of her life, being able to get her out of, a nursing facility in a hospital and bring her home, getting hospice in there, surrounding her with people that loved her and cared about her. That was rewarding for me more than it was for her. Knowing that she was surrounded by all the people that loved her meant the world to me, and being able to do that for her, and her not have a care in the world, not a worry in the world. What would you like? Okay, we got it for you. Who would you like to see? Okay, we'll go get them for you. And it helped her. She had a beautiful end of life. Oh, sorry, I got a runny nose. She had a beautiful end of life, just surrounded by everyone that loved her. And since then, when anyone has called me or texted me or got in touch with me and said, hey, do you want to come out here? Do you want to go do this? Yep, let's go. A lot of hiking, a lot of sightseeing. And I have 2 fur babies that I would love to introduce to you, because they're my whole world right now. They're my whole world. So I'm going to start by just showing you guys some pictures, some videos about some cool events, some cool places, if that's cool. I'm glad we're just going to chill out for a little bit while I get kind of used to this stuff again. Sister is a hospice nurse. She was born to do that job. Madness Hatter, I have a very soft spot for hospice nurses. Seeing what they go through and what they deal with, I don't know how they do it, but everyone that I've met, almost every nurse that I've ever met, has an aura about them. You just know that they're compassionate, giving people, that they enjoy what they're doing. But hospice nurses, yeah, I have such a soft spot for them. They were amazing. They were absolutely amazing. We had a big fight in the hospital trying to get her out when the doctors had explained that the antibiotics weren't working, that her kidneys were shutting down, that her body was going into shutdown. All of her organs were going into shutdown. And she was starting to get very confused. And there's a big fight between the insurance company. My mother was a veteran. So she had VA benefits, and then she had her Medicare benefits, and her disability benefits, and all of them were fighting about her end of life care. And there was a hospice nurse that advocated with me, that taught me how to advocate for her. We were able to call in one meeting with all of her medical providers through all of the different hospitals and services and benefits, and come up with one care plan. But I was so shocked. None of them had the same medical records. None of them had an updated, correct medication list. None of them did. So, I mean, that definitely contributed to how her infection spread and how she died so quickly. But the hospice nurses they held my hand through everything. One of my close friends, one of my best friends that I met here actually on the internet, who knew my son in real life, I'd seen him race before. I met her here. I'm not going to call her out. She can if she wants to. She went with me to Ohio. She came to my house in West Virginia, and then we went to Ohio, and she was with me through all of that, getting my mother out of the hospital and all that it took to do. And we had to go get new furniture and a hospital bed and just pretty much everything for an apartment, and to get it there, and for people to be comfortable when they came. And I ended up having to hire out nurses to come in between the hospice nurses, and the hospice company were amazing. They were absolutely amazing through every bit of it. I have a very special place for them. Your sister is a saint, in my opinion, for being able to do that every day. Every day. So, pull this up. We've got some photos to share with y'all. And that's where I started off, September 1st, 2024. This was the day that we were getting my birth mother out of the hospital and bringing her home. This was the day that we had learned that she wasn't going to make it. And so it was a matter of keeping her comfortable. So we brought her home, and then this was on September 4th. We had a welcome home party for her. I think we had Olive Garden catered that day. We had Olive Garden come in, and she had so many friends and family and some of her aunts and uncles that are still alive that came to visit with her. It was amazing. She had 4 hours. She was barely able to stay awake by the end of it when we took her and put her in bed. Yeah, they have a different strength about them. Very admirable. Couldn't agree more. Very, very, very blessed. Very wonderful. Very kind. Very unique people. Very much so. And then September 11th, around 5:30, she passed away. And we had her funeral on the 14th. We knew it was coming. We had planned it all before that. And I thought this was so cool because my cousins, her nephews, they all showed up. Her whole family was there. It was just a beautiful service, a beautiful ceremony. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And then a couple weeks later, I went back up there to Ohio, to her hometown. And I had met so many of the people, and I'd gotten to hang out with people that I used to work with on the railroad, people I went to school with up there. And that Friday night, my cousin's son played football. So he had a home game. And they played Country Roads, and I was crying like a baby in the stands. It was so cool. It was one of the neatest things ever. Just so many people that I've known, but I hadn't seen or spent time with in years and years and years. It was a really cool experience. And then Halloween, I went back up and spent Halloween with my mother's family. It was a good time. We handed out candy. We had a little celebration. It was cold. Ohio was cold. but we definitely had a good time. Did some shooting. My uncle made his own little shooting range here on his property, and we had fun shooting targets and walking the woods. And I call her my sister. She's one of my best friends. We grew up together. We lived in the same home most of our childhood. So she lives way out in the middle of nowhere. And I love chickens. I don't have chickens. I don't live in the country yet. But I took some crackers out to give them. I think chickens are just like the funniest things ever. Like, could you imagine functioning with no arms? They're just hilarious. And every morning they were on the porch clucking for crackers. It's a good time up there, spending time with them. I do, Ocean. I love chickens. Chickens running is funny. Chickens running makes me laugh all the time. If you hear my pups growling, they're playing. They have their chew bones in there. They're playing behind me, but you might hear them a little bit. They're not upset or angry or fighting. That's how they play. My oldest, Georgia May, she gets a little rowdy. She gets a little growl on. I'm going to show you her. She gets a little crazy. Yeah, ducks too. I don't know what it is, but when I see them running through the yard, oh my gosh, they just laugh every time. Okay, go to the next one. Why are you not here? Oh, there it is. So let me do this and find out why. It isn't working like it's supposed to. Let's see. Sorry about that. I don't know what's up with this. I told y'all I'm learning. I have to learn this thing all over again. Redo it. Sorry about this. I just say stuff about dead air. Okay, back screen. Close this out. What the heck was the chicken? It was funny to me. Like, I mean, I've been around chickens before. I have an aunt and uncle that I have. But there's something crazy about these chickens and ducks, and they all just commingle together. They're all about every morning. They would come up and cackle the crackers. I've been keeping these pictures because I knew I would want to share some of it with you. It gets cooler. Dad worked for Conrail for 25 years. Wow. He died in 92. I'm so sorry. He's 40. He's 15. When you say working on the railroad, I had to make some. Thank you for that. You're welcome. Conrail, Norfolk Southern actually merged with Conrail in mid to late 90s, I think. And where I worked at in Ohio, a town called Bellevue, Ohio, Mormon Yard, where I hired out at, where the majority of my career was. I worked the road. We had a lot of Conrail engines, or locomotives, and a lot of Conrail former employees that were grandfathered in. And where I live at in West Virginia, a lot of my former coworkers that were they were former Conrail employees, and really good guys, really good guys. I worked with some really good guys. I miss working with a lot of them. Well, I wouldn't say a lot of them. I'll say a handful of them. Georgia may be nice. Be nice. Okay, let's go back to this. It's really cool though. I've met so many other people. I was with Norfolk Southern about 20 years. And I loved my job. I loved my career. I thoroughly enjoyed railroading. And I know there was a rumor not long ago that I took tickets for Amtrak or for passenger train or something. And although I think that would be a really cool job, I don't think there's anything degrading or negative or ugly about that. I think that would be as challenging and as fun as being a freight train conductor or a freight train engineer. I never got the chance to do that. I never got certified or qualified on passenger train service. It was always just freight train service. But yeah, I thought it would be super cool. So hockey, I fell in love with hockey. I still don't know a lot about the rules and things like that. But so my brother that lives in Ohio, his birthday is in November. And then I have a cousin whose birthday is in March or May. And they love hockey. They absolutely love hockey. So we did a group trip to hockey, and I thought this was so funny. Friends don't let friends be Cyclones fans. And these are this is the Cyclones penalty box next to the sign on the other side where they're at. And it was so funny. I think hockey fans, like motocross was my jam. My son raced. A lot of the kids that he raced with and a lot of his friends, I still communicate with on a regular basis. I got some photos to show you of bikes that we donated to their children. But I met hockey fans, and I love them. I freaking love their tenacity. I love how loud they get. I love their passion for players, for teams, for the sport. They are just phenomenal people. But I got some really cool videos. I think, well, I'm going to say that the Toledo Mud Hens are my favorite team. I love me some Toledo Mud Hens. We had phenomenal seats. It was such a good time. So it was November, not this past November, but the year before, 2024. And then on November 21st, I met my baby girl, Augusta, Georgia, May. And she'd been home, I think, about 3 days. They're very rowdy. I love hockey. Love hockey. So I brought Georgia home. Augusta, after where I was born and where I grew up at, Augusta, Georgia. I'm always going to have a special place for Augusta, Georgia. Yeah, Georgia's beautiful. I'll be down there in a few weeks, actually. My best friend's son is in basic training, and he's fixing to head down to basic training. Graduates in a few days, and then he's going to head down to Fort Benning for basic training. I'm so excited to get to go down to watch his graduation ceremony and stay for a couple of days. Hey, Snake, how are you? Good to see you, Snake. I haven't seen you forever. I hope you're having an awesome spring. So I went back to Ohio for Christmas that year. And then I went to my brother's house for Christmas. And then we found a really cool place close to my brother's house. And Georgia just loves the snow, her little self. She bombs it. She does not get cold. She loves to be in the snow. In West Virginia, we had a lot of snow. And every day I would go to my brother's house and take her for a walk. She just loves the snow. Ocean always says, her ears crack me up. Ocean likes her ears. And she killed the tree. The tree is no longer with me. It's no longer with us. We had to throw it out. She destroyed it. I have another one. I know Snake. She's so cute. Every time I would do dishes, she'd jump on the couch and chew the tree until she killed it. No matter where I put it in the house, she'd find a way to get to it, or she'd knock it over. She was so much fun right off the get-go. She was extremely intelligent. See, I couldn't imagine locking my dogs up in a smoked out hotel room all day, every day. I just couldn't fathom it. Couldn't fathom a life for them in a one room apartment or a one room hotel room and gone all day long. I think it's inhumane. And people who do that to the animals shouldn't have animals because, oh my God, what kind of life is that for them? She is just so adorable. And then we went back up another hockey game. This one was funny. There was a fight and I got it on video. I know, Orson, right? I just love hockey. If I lived closer, which I don't live too far from Columbus, it's a good drive in Ohio. I don't live super far from there, about 3 hours away. It's almost worth it to get season passes because I have cousins. My cousins and my brother, they love hockey so much. So we did a lot of hockey games. Here's the fight. It wasn't a big fight. Oh, I didn't get the punch. There was a punch right before that, but I didn't get it. I thought I did. Just a lot. It was a good time. Tons of hockey games. And then I just really enjoyed spending time with family members, getting to know them better and bonding with them and spending time with them. I had a really good time with that. And then I had the opportunity, Cosby, Tennessee, which is just outside of Gatlinburg. They have luxury cabins is what they call them. They're beautiful. They're 3 floors. They come with a plethora of different things. So we did a cousins trip, and my cousins brought their children down. So we did the theater room, the pool, the hot tub, and a ton of hiking. Everybody brought their dogs. And we just had a really good time with the kids. This was one of the hiking trails that we went on. This is in Cosby, Tennessee. Georgia's a good hike, though. Not being able to get out and do anything and having abruptly, so just without warning, not been able to work for a while. My body was so mangled and beat up and so many procedures and doctor's appointments and you name it. You freaking name it. Head to waist. I had so many injuries. I gained so much weight. I gained probably 35 pounds, which I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. For me, it did something to me mentally. I've always been active, outside, hyper. I stay busy. So it damn near killed me to be locked up, not able to get out and go do stuff. So the minute I was able to, I was down. I was gone. I moved and I found some of the most beautiful places. And little Georgia, man, she loves to hike. She loves to be outside. She loves it. Wandering, we started easy with like an hour or 2 a day, a couple days a week, and then gradually moved up to every day I go somewhere. Every day I take the dogs on a different trail somewhere close to where I live at. And they love it. They love it. This was our cousin's trip down in Cosby. We found some of the coolest places to just chill out, hang out. And this is Tennessee in April. Where I live at, it was still snowy and icy and gross and super cold. And down there, it was like summer. Spring had woke up down there. It was so beautiful. So I took them to, the first half of the week, I had cousins that had older kids. And then the second half of the week, I had cousins that had younger kids. So they kind of split it out. We were down there about 10 days. So we split it into 5 days for the younger kids and 5 days for the older kids. So the first group, we went to the Valley Stampede. And I don't know if you guys have never went to anything Valley. You should. I think it's called the Valley Stampede. It's just one of the coolest things. And we had so much fun down there. It's a dinner theater kind of thing. The kids loved it. The food was amazing. It's really cool for the kids, but I enjoyed it a lot too. When you first walk in, it doesn't look like anything big, and then it just opens up. It's huge. It's so neat. They had an aerial show. They had aerial yoga. They had all kinds of stuff. It was really neat. So the cabins come with an indoor heated pool, which the kids loved. I loved. It was so helpful on my back. Yeah, hiking and backpacking is fun. It can be strenuous too. It can take a look. There's some trails where I live at. It takes number. Georgia loves to be outside. We found places like this. We were trying to figure out how to get to the other side. The trail goes to the other side, but we didn't chance it with the littles. Gigi girl, she just loves to be outside. So we found this old cemetery. I mean old, really old cemetery. A lot of the markers are completely gone. Yeah, wandering aerial yoga is so much fun, and it's I think it's relaxing, it's soothing. What I think is different about it, I'm in my upper 40s, I'm almost 50. And going to the gym a lot of times, even regular yoga, I do the hot yoga at Hot Works, and I get really, really sore. I don't get as sore with aerial yoga because you don't have the weight of your own body or weights or bands or anything like that. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. We found this really cool cemetery at the end of a hiking trail. I thought, how do people come here? But then I seen the stones. I don't think people still go there. These are really old, but very beautiful. The cabins are gorgeous. They come with, I had talked to a couple of friends on YouTube. I wanted to host like a girls trip or something, and have a bunch of us that used to hang out on a somewhat regular basis or talk on the phone. I thought it'd be cool for all of us to get together in this very cabin right here. I was looking, that was the whole reason I started looking at it. But people's schedules couldn't line up. Some people weren't interested in meeting in real life. And that's cool. I get it. Nothing wrong with that. But I was all about it. So we just kind of turned it into a cousin's trip. It was a lot of fun. We had a really good time. Georgia became my road dog. She loves going on trips. So another trip I went to was Pembroke, Virginia, where they filmed the movie Dirty Dancing. And the resort is still the same way. It's still set up exactly as the movie. When we were down there, the lake had been drained because they had flooding They'd had really bad storms and flooding a few months before that, and they were still cleaning up from it. It's a beautiful place, and it's preserved. She loves to travel. They have a map. So it's called Mountain Lake Lodge. When you go there, they have a scavenger hunt and a little map to help you with the clues. And all the questions are movie related. And a really cool gift shop. I went nuts in here and got a little bit of everything. Thank you, Wandering. Just thought I'd share where I've been the last couple of years and why I hadn't been around. A lot of healing and spending time with family and friends and traveling and doing things that I hadn't been able to do for so long. Being locked up for 3 years. I mean, I don't compare it to jail or prison. I couldn't imagine that. But it was rough not being able to come and go as I wanted. Having to have every trip outside be cleared by other people. So that's the Dirty Dancing barn. I was excited to be there. It's beautiful. They had just had storms. They had really bad storms a few months before we were there. We went down for a Metallica concert actually at Wayne Stadium, Virginia Tech. So I get to spend some time with G. This is where Baby carried the watermelon. It was just really, really fun to get out with family and meet up with friends and experience new places. So where they, at the end of Dirty Dancing, where the famous song and dance, and that is in this room right here. It's obviously set up different. It's a dining room now. But okay, Madness Hatter. So happy you're on your. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. I plan to come back on a way more regular basis. We're figuring out some type of a schedule for what days, but yeah, I'm happy to do that. I feel like I can do it again. This place is so beautiful, so relaxing. There's so much country. So my brother and sister-in-law, we went to the Metallica concert, and we had really good seats, and we had the student entrance, and yeah, that's the song, Wandering Flirty. Yep. It was so, I don't know how to describe it, being there, being a fan of the movie, having grown up watching the movie so many times, you know, my friends and my family liking the movie. I mean, all of my cousins and I used to sit and watch that at least twice a year, Mother's Day weekend and Christmas at my grandmother's house, and we were all there. So cool story, Lane Stadium. We're in the VIP student entrance and just standing along the curved sidewalk, waiting for the gates to open. We were there for probably about 3 hours before they opened up. They had a little carnival going on to buy food and merch and all this stuff. So we got there early, about 3 hours before concert started, to eat and just kind of hang out. And so I'm standing on a sidewalk with my family, and I took 2 steps off the sidewalk because the roads are all closed. It's a big concert's going on. And we see police cars come in with their lights going, but no siren. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, somebody must have got hurt. So I jumped on the sidewalk. You know, I was like, get out of the way. Nope, it was a band coming in. I was feet away from James Hetfield and just about lost my mind. Could not believe it. He's like, oh my gosh, why didn't I have my camera ready? That would have been a really cool picture or a cool video. And a bunch of students that were working. It was just so much fun. It was a really cool concert. We had good seats. It was packed. It was a little freaky to see snipers up on top of the on the very top apparatus on the roof. There were snipers everywhere. That was a little freaky to see, but understandably, we had crazies out there. Then back in Pembroke at the Mountain Lake Lodge, just some of the views, some of the scenes from the movie. So if you've ever heard any songs from the band, oh, I'm positive that you have. Enter Sandman. They added Virginia Tech to the. I haven't researched this. This is what students were telling us. They added Virginia Tech because Enter Sandman was used for Virginia Tech Hokies football team. And there was some kind of a copyright lawsuit or some kind of a copyright issue. And Metallica, the band, got upset that a college would have a fit about Enter Sandman being used. And from what I understand, Virginia Tech wasn't the only college. But so Metallica said, watch this, hold my beer. And they added Virginia Tech to their tour. So they came down and they did the whole show. And it was hours long. It was the longest concert I think I've ever been to. Perfect weather. It was beautiful. The sound was great. And they gave Virginia Tech the rights to all of it, the video and the audio to everything. It was extra special. And then started my plants journey. So my same friend brought me a bunch of plants. And I had my first garden, my first container garden, which I'm so proud of because it did really good. For whom the bell tolls, yeah. So I went to Nashville a few months after and sang karaoke. I went to, oh my gosh, Post Malone's. I went to Posty's Bar and sang, oh, it'll hit me in a minute. I'll remember. That was on my bucket list. I wanted to go to Nashville and sing karaoke, and I did. Georgia just chilling on our back balcony. She is just so beautiful. So the first dirt bike that we donated, one of my son's closest friends growing up in the motocross community, has two little boys now, and the not-for-profit that we started, we find kids that have a passion for motocross, for the sport, and this little guy definitely has a passion for the sport. They have good grades. There's criteria that they have to meet, but this was the first dirt bike that we donated in Cody's memory and in Cody's honor to this little guy who loves it. So I found a couple of dealers, one in Ohio and one here in West Virginia where I live, and I worked with them to order the bikes and the equipment and the gear, and they set it up for the little tykes, and we go pick them up and then we drop them off. And it's very rewarding. It's very fulfilling to still be involved in the community, but to find the little guys and the little girls that really have a passion for the sport, that are good kids, that maybe parents are struggling a little bit or single mom situation, and to be able to help them out is like, Cody would be so proud of that. He would absolutely love getting involved in this way. So doing it in his memory and in his honor is something I'm extremely proud of. It took a lot of years of hard work to come up with exactly what we wanted to do, but yeah, I love it. And being able to go to the races and watch these little guys grow up the same way I watched mine, super fulfilling, super rewarding. So on this day, this is in Ohio, so we took the bike, and then I think it was this day or the next day. I think the dates are in here. So it was the next day. Out of nowhere, driving on a back road, these two eagles landed. And they were so majestic and so beautiful. I pulled off on the side of the road and took a picture. So we picked up the bike. So the second bike, I said, let's take it for a little cruise for a minute. I don't know why the video stopped. It keeps freezing up on me. What the heck is it doing? What the heck? Well, this is crazy. Why did it keep freezing up on me? Oh, that's why. I don't plug my computer in. Okay. So it was fun to take it for a little toodle around the neighborhood. I'd forgotten how fast those little PW50s go. Of course, my baby nephew, we got him a little dirt bike because he's gonna be a rider too. I just have a feeling he's gonna love it. So we took him for his first little ride, and all he wanted to do was steer. Like, let go, Aunt Peppy, let go! I do it! I spent a whole summer, several times a week, just going down and playing with him outside in the pool, or playing with him in the yard. Got him a big bounce house with a slide on it. He just absolutely loved it. Yeah, I don't know which plane trip this was. This might have been going to Texas. I love flying. Hey, Deb Vlogs, how are you? Good to see you too. I just kept myself busy, experiencing new things, meeting new people, trying new foods, doing things I've always wanted to do, but never thought I would have the chance to do. And taking my family and friends with me, it was a really good time. Very much so, Peter. I remember how hard it was. If you've never flown, I took a video for you. Always fly Southwest. They're amazing. We had funny pilots. Just every plane trip that we took to and back, we had great pilots. We had great crews. My brother, who still railroads, I would point him out and say, he's a locomotive engineer. And they would banter back and forth a little bit. It was a good time. You motorcycle in your videos now? Yes. PW50s. They're fun. They come with training wheels too. I think we got a set for little guy, my great nephew. I think we got a set for him. I remember taking this video thinking, I know there's people that haven't ever flown. Maybe this will help them feel better. So I think this was Myrtle Beach. So my cousin has a daughter that she manages a restaurant. She finished up with college and she's a restaurant manager. And she hadn't been on a vacation for a while. And I said, where do you want to go? And she said, oh, I really want to go to Myrtle Beach or Florida. And I said, pick one. And then we planned it and I took her down. We had a great time down there. Myrtle Beach is beautiful. We were down the week of July 4th. That's July 9th. So they still had fireworks going every night at a pier down at the other end of the beach. But we could see them from our beach. It was a really good time. We stayed at a place called Compass Cove Oceanfront Resort. And they have a little floaty, whatever you call it. I can't remember what it's called now. I should, right? I should be that. I have a ton of those little videos of riding him all over the neighborhood. He sat in those chairs all day. We just had a really good time. Oh yeah, I did get the fireworks. I'm going to get to the ticks. And I'm not only talking about Bombshell. She is a tick. It was really cool to see fireworks on the beach. A hell of a storm came in that night, but it was very peaceful. It was a very good time. Got some great pictures. Got some beautiful nighttime pictures. Well, I'm sitting on the balcony in the sun in the morning time, and I seen Purple Phoenix and her family were there too. These freaking pigeons. It's like Cedar Point in Ohio. They're just not even afraid anymore. It's like, give me food, give me food. We had a great time. Being hours away from the ocean made me a little sad when we left. Thinking about maybe a condo on the ocean down in Savannah or somewhere. I think that would be a really cool winter plan. Take off every winter and go stay on the beach. There's only one time when we were there for 5 days. There's only one time that the beach was evacuated for a shark. It is beautiful. The little beach is gorgeous. I was afraid it would be a little touristy, you know. Gigi, be nice. Maybe I'll put in plans, but at least they're not in a hotel room by themselves all day long, all day and all night. Pathetic. So the trip to Uvalde was very moving, and I'm not going to talk about it a lot right now. Everybody, I'm sure, if Uvalde sounds familiar to you, that's where the Robb Elementary School shooting took place. And they have a beautiful memorial right in the middle of town. It's a very small town, which I wasn't really surprised, or I was very surprised how small the town was. Everybody knows everybody who knows everybody. And so we had the opportunity to go up. My brother had his GoPro 360. So he has really good video footage of all the stuff that we did. And I do plan to do a live stream and share my experience with going there and meeting some of the people and seeing some of the sites. This really hit home for me, though, that each one of the children and the teacher that were shot and killed that day, they have a little memorial spot up here by this really pretty pond. And the fountain, a cool fountain thing, I call it a pond, but and the family members and people from the community and some of their students who survived can go up here and drop off little gifts or trinkets or it's so beautiful. Take a photo of each one. And I heard the story and have talked to family members, the teacher that was shot and killed that day. I think it was a week later, shortly after her funeral. Her husband passed from a massive heart attack at her cemetery spot. Very moving place. If you ever go through Texas and get the opportunity to go to Uvalde, go into town, you should absolutely go visit this place. It's beautiful. But I think there's something very special about the community being able to come up here and feel connected to the people that they love. Crescent Beach near St. Augustine. Ooh, I'm going to add that to my list. Kings Island, Georgia, just north of Savannah. Nice area. It is beautiful there. I spent many summers in Savannah. My dad's family is from Augusta, and I grew up there. I left a note. They have a book where you can sign in, and people leave notes. And so I just wrote Stephanie, West Virginia, and then I put the word Vilomah. because I would love for the parents and family members that I didn't get the chance to meet and I haven't had the chance to interact with or communicate with. Sometimes I just think that word can heal another parent who's lost a child. I know it did me. It was so significant in my grief journey and finding a way to relate, finding another identity other than just being Cody's mom for so long. So I write it down in places like this, hoping that somebody comes behind me and they Google it, and then it helps them in their journey of finding peace every day after. So when we were there, we ate at this really nice little restaurant, like a little mom and pop shop. I love those more than anything else. When it comes to finding new restaurants, I love to go to the little mom and pop shops. They have the best food, the best service. People know the town in and out, tell you everything. And so they said that the school was still standing, and I did not know that. And so she said, yeah, here's how you get there. And I didn't know how I felt about going to the school where this massacre had taken place. But I felt so moved being at the memorial pond that I thought, I want to go see. I want to go see what it feels like. For those of us who don't ever deal with something like this, I wanted to put my feet on the ground and look at it and put into perspective the events that took place that day. And boy, do you really, when you physically see it, the story of driving by and crashing the car and running through the field, and there's a funeral home on the other side of the school, employees coming out to try to help this kid who then shoots at them, and this door right here where the shooter got into and the classroom where these kids were massacred. It really puts into perspective, because a lot of times when we watch, the judgy part of ourselves come with things like, how could that happen? And why wasn't the door shut? Why wasn't somebody at the door? And how did they get into school? Going there, you can see that how something like this could happen. They have beautiful memorials that are up. And I was shocked at how many people go there. So I recently heard that it's either in the process of being torn down, or the lawsuit that was filed against the school board to have the school taken down was approved or was won. 77 minutes. These are the surviving students. Survived 77 minutes during the school massacre. It was just in 2022. It's very moving. It changes you when you physically put your feet in a place like this and showing respect to strangers, people that you've never met, but understanding, understanding their grief, understanding their anger, and their resentment, and their questions. My son didn't die in anywhere near even the same situation, but the shock and the grief part of it is, very, very relatable to anyone who's lost a child. It was a beautiful experience, but heartbreaking. And again, they have individual memorials, and people bring little trinkets and pictures and flowers and little toys and little stuffed animals, and they drop them off here. And the families come up and get them. So while we were in Uvalde, there was a cool little place called Ox Ranch. Yes, Wandering, I hope you have a great time. When your feet hit the sand and then your ankles hit the ocean, I hope it changes you. There's something about the sea. There's something about the ocean. Definitely something about the ocean. I hope you have a wonderful time. I hope you bring back a lot of joy and peace from going to visit. So Ox Ranch is in Uvalde also. It's just outside of town in Uvalde. It's the largest, if I might get this wrong, but I think I remember, it's the largest working privately owned ranch in Texas. So an independent single guy bought it several years ago. And I think it's interesting that as he grew into a man and got married and had a family, new parts of the ranch were developed. So initially it was just him. And so he has this badass shooting range and a collection of all kinds of guns, you name it, he's got it, cannons, tanks. And to my nephew, when he was graduating high school, I said to him, there's one place that you would really love to go that you don't think you'll ever get the chance to do. And he said, I really want to drive a German tank. I was like, a German tank? Hey, good to see you, bud. First stream back. I've been gone for a couple of years. Just touching base with where I've been the last couple of years. Stick around for this part, though. You might like it. So he said, I really would like to drive a German tank. And I said, like a real German tank? And he said, yeah, like a real German tank. So we Googled and did some research. And there's some that were closer, but this place out in Uvalde, Ox Ranch, has, first of all, you have to book in advance, private. You have a tour guide with you the whole time to come and get you. It's beautiful, wonderful. It's a little bougie, but it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. So he started off with the shooting range and the tanks, and then he got married. And then came some of the animals. So he has a ton of wild animals, like this kangaroo, whose name is Scar. And Scar is domesticated and very friendly and goes wherever the heck he wants to, but stays around the touristy areas, like the main cabins and the restaurants and things. I have, shit show, I have. I've been dealing with some stuff, but we're good. We're good now. And so then he has children, and then the petting zoo and the baby animals and his program where there are different animals that are about extinct or they're on the endangered list, like rhinoceros. And so he has a breeding program on his property with professional veterinarians and wildlife experts that live on the property and take care of the animals. And so the safari was developed. And so we got to do a little bit of everything. We shot a bunch of guns and cannons. My nephew drove the tank, which was like one of his, bucket list items. He said that's the one thing that he never thought he'd be able to do. By God, we took him to do it. And so these are photos from that place. It's called Ox Ranch in Uvalde, Texas. So this kangaroo just walks up to you. It's like, hey, you got food? So they have an interesting, I don't know what you would call it, but a museum type of place. So this guy has all of these tanks, and you name the war, he's got memorabilia from it. And it's all organized, and you can go through and like put your hands on it. You can touch the stuff. You can sit inside of it. You can see exactly what soldiers went through back then. You can see the confined spaces. The condition of the guns that they were given to go to battle. It's the uniforms, all of it. You can physically touch it. You can see how today compared to then, things are totally different. But it's a really cool place. This is one of the neatest places that I've ever been to. So this is the wall of guns, and you go in and pick the guns that you want to shoot, and they load them up on a truck and take them over to the shooting range, and then you get in another truck, and then they drive you over, and you just shoot all day, and it was a blast. It was a lot of fun. Hey, this internet, nobody. I'm doing great. I hope you're doing good. No, it's been a while, right? I came back quietly. Like, we'll just ease back into our own stuff. This was one of the best trips. This trip right here. We did so much stuff in 5 days. It was amazing. And it's an all-day event. Like, shooting the guns becomes an all-day event. Driving the tank becomes an all-day event. We did the car crush. I think I have a video of it in here, where my nephew drove over a car to crush it, and it was, he said, one of the best experiences that he's ever had. Bucket list experience. Oh yeah, here's the video. So I get a little hype in it because my nephew doing something that he's always wanted to do that he never thought he was going to be able to do. I was a good hike girl that day. So they record it and then they put it on the internet. I think there's a YouTube channel for Ox Ranch where they have a bunch of car crushes and gun shooting on there, but I forgot to look for it. I think I found it, but I didn't bookmark it. So these were all the guns that we took and shot that day. And then there were a couple that were secured to a tank outside, and they put those in a different truck. But it was so much fun. If you're into guns and you like shooting ranges and target practice and things like that, you'll love this place. You'll love it. So on the safari that we took out there, they bring you to this rock. You hear people say things like, on the trail, bear left, bear right. You don't really know what they're saying until you get there. The rock on its own is shaped like a bear. No one shaped it. No one carved it. No one broke it. Just a rock that happens to look like a bear opening its mouth. And it's a little eye right there. And so that's what they're talking about all the time when they say bear left and bear right. So I said, hey, I want to take a picture by that bear. So then we went into San Antonio. San Antonio is gorgeous. Beautiful city. Always popping. Lights are always on. Music is always playing. People are always around. But I didn't really realize how big, right? Ocean, I need 10 of them. I didn't realize how big some of these buildings were. And to see our flag, I don't know, there was something majestic about it. I love our American flag. So the Alamo was really close to where we stayed at. We stayed at a really nice hotel in town once we left the ranch. And the Alamo was like, boom, right there, right out the window. So of course we walked. Yes, the river walk. We spent a whole evening on the river walk wandering. River walk is really cool. So we went over and walked around the Alamo. We didn't do the tour. It was already late. And I didn't know that San Antonio was where the actual original Drury Hotel is at. But that was pretty cool too. I don't remember what I was taking a picture of that for. Oh, I was trying to figure out what this stuff was. I still have no idea. Some kind of scaffolding or something. I don't know, but they're always working on stuff. So at Ox Ranch, they have all kinds of animals. You name it, they've got them. And this turtle was so freaking majestic. 3.5 hours for me, shit show. I wish I could live in Texas. Texas is beautiful. We flew into San Antonio. Even the airport is really nice. That's cool though that you live that close. Peter, this one is huge. So they give you like a big bag of lettuce and other greens and all kinds of food. I mean, they give you like a box of food. You go on a private tour. So it's just our family with the tour guide. But yeah, you stop at all the places and you can feed some of the animals. Some of the ones that are on the endangered list you can't interact with. They have a very strict program with them. You can see the baby rhinoceros. They just had a baby rhinoceros like a week before we got there. So you could see it in the water, but they don't let you get out and walk up to the gate or the fence or anything. Like they're very ethical. They have a very ethical breeding program. So this is the place. Let me see if I got it on video. Where they have actual dinosaur trail. Like actual dinosaur footprints. Come here, Charlie. I'll let you up here. Come here, buddy. Come here, Charleston. I'll put you up there. Come on. Come on. Come on. You want up on there? This place was so calming and so peaceful. Out in the middle of nowhere. Your chances of running into someone else is zero. It's so big. It's so huge. When you do the private tour, they just take you all over. I can't remember the owner's name. They do hunting excursions there too. You can travel there and hunt. They have hunting blinds everywhere, fully staffed. Your rooms are fully staffed. This is one of the giraffes. Oh, that's right. His name's Melvin. This is Ox Ranch in Uvalde. So they give you food and tell you to shake the cup or lift the carrots. And Melvin is one of the older giraffes that's been there for several years, but is very calm, and I don't want to say domesticated because they're not domesticated, but you know what I mean. They're very friendly. They're people friendly. He's 4. He's going to walk over and eat carrots out of my hand and some of the oats that are in the cup. It's a little bit intimidating. Yeah, shit show. I recommend it. I highly recommend it. It's worth the price. He is so beautiful. I wish the photo captured how beautiful this giraffe was. So at one point, our tour guide said, if you put your carrots in your mouth, he'll take it right out of your mouth. And he did. I just didn't video that for you because, you know, there's some weirdos on here. It would make that into something it wasn't. See, like that. We're not going to show that. You can just hear it now. So then I went back to Ohio, a little town called Shelby, and we stopped for lunch one day. And they have the best lemon drop martinis I've ever had in my life. But it's an old bank, like a 1900s bank that is, still has the vault, obviously. Still has the vault and stuff in there. And they turned it into a little martini bar. And this is down in Thurman, West Virginia. I later learned that Ryan Upchurch did a music video here. So when we were down there, the state park guide, it's now a state park, Thurman, West Virginia is now a state park. But our guide down there said, yeah, this is where Ryan Upchurch did his music video. It's my sister-in-law talking. It's beautiful down there. It goes along the railroad tracks. So I finally had the opportunity to go back up to New Haven in Ohio, where Cody is buried at, and tend to his grave. For 3 years, I couldn't go there with my battle with Norfolk Southern. I couldn't go anywhere near the cemetery. And so I've been able to go up there anytime I want to now. But I was able to go up and tend to his grave, and I loved it. I loved getting to spend some time up there. So I took a trip to Nashville with my girl cousins. We went down, and this was amazing too. I don't know if you've ever heard of a country music artist, Ashley McBryde, but she's my absolute favorite. If you haven't heard of her, look her up. I love Ashley McBryde. Every song she puts out is really good. And so the week after, she had a new bar open up with the Redemption Bar. We were there the week after, and it's just such a good time down there. I was a little disappointed in Miranda Lambert's bar. Kind of a hole in the wall, but I don't know what I was expecting. We did the Johnny Cash Museum, which is beautiful. I love me some Johnny Cash. We made a donation to the Nashville Fire Department, which was really cool. They were super involved with the flooding and the storms. Down there, they sent some of their own out to help with rescue and recovery, and they're just really, really good guys. So I got the opportunity to meet them and make a contribution to their services. Really, really good guys. They have the angel wall, the angel wings wall. I didn't know that it's now a landmark in Nashville. You can go and get your pictures taken with the wings. I did some karaoke with the stranger. No idea who he was, but he was a lot of fun. Gallon hurricane glass. Gallon hurricane glass. I'm not sure what that means. In the picture? But that was at Postie's. And I had so much fun at Postie's Bar. If you go to Nashville, go to Postie's Bar. Talk about a good time. They have these funny pictures that you can take. So I got one. And then Georgia May growing up, getting to be a big girl. Back home chilling out. So there's a story about this massage chair. So as opposed to physical therapy and going to a massage parlor or a place to get a massage all the time, I ran into this chair and I sat in it and I thought, probably what you're thinking. Like I bet, but it's not anything like having somebody give you a back massage. Wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Head to toe. This thing is amazing. This thing is amazing. So I bought one and put it in my house so I can go get a massage any freaking time I want to. I love this thing so much. It's well worth it. I don't know what that's doing in there. So I think it's in Charleston or Huntington, West Virginia. It's an hour or so away from where I live at. They have Gomart Park, ballpark. And they do this big Christmas light show every year. And you kind of walk through the maze and there's things for kids to do, all wandering. They are amazing. I start my day off every morning with it. And a lot of times before I go to bed. But we took a trip there, walked through the light park. It was a lot of fun. They have hot chocolate and some alcohol drinks. And then December 3rd, I met my baby. I got my baby. His name's Charleston. And he's a tiny mini Yorkie poo. Hey, sweet Sativa. I am doing great. I hope you're doing good. Good to see you. So I went to the same place that I got my Georgia girl. And I had been looking for a cat. I was going to get a cat. I wanted a cat. We went to 6 places, my family and I. 6 different places over 3 days. And everywhere we went, there was an issue. So I kind of think that this was divine intervention. But everywhere we went, there was an issue with adopting a cat. So I finally just said, F it, I'm done. It's just gonna be me and Georgia girl. So the last place that we went to, we were told, go check this place out. So we get there and they had adult grown cats. I wanted a kitten that would grow up with Georgia. So I look over on the wall and they had tiny, Yorkie poo puppies. That's what Georgia is. She's a Yorkie poo. She's a full-size Yorkie poo. And then I seen him, and I said, "Hey, can I meet this one?" And the lady said, "Yep." And she brought him out to me, and I'm playing with him, and I just felt something. I just knew I was falling in love with him, and I said, "Can I see his paperwork?" Because I thought, how cool would it be if he's from the same breeder? And so they brought me his paperwork. Now I'm gonna tell you. It gave me chills. I still get chills when I think about this. So I'm looking through the paperwork and the litter that he came from. So his father's name was Cody's Johnny. My son, his name is Cody. And so that made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. And then I look further down and he was born on September 11th. That was the day of my work accident. And then 3 years later, the same day that my mother passed away. So just a few months after my mom dies, I find him. I said, I'll take him. Whatever. Just wrap him up. Forget the bows. I'm going to take him home. And I did. I brought him home that night. And he got his first bath. He's the mini. And Georgia is full grown. But little Charleston Cashmay, he is perfect. He is perfect. So he loves to go to the mall and walk with me. He loves to go outside and walk. He just doesn't like to get in the water. So we took our first road trip together with him. Your feed is skipping. I hope it's not my internet. We have a storm coming in pretty soon. So I just took pictures of them. They love to sit on the bench and look out the window. So I took them to DC with me. My last trip down to DC was on my birthday. Is anybody else's feed skipping? It may be my photos. When I hit my mouse, they jump back and forth. Okay, think bitter. It might be me hitting the thing. I'll be more careful with it. Hopefully it doesn't happen anymore. So I got to go to DC on my birthday. January 6th is my birthday. And my whole goal was, you know what, I'm going to take back January 6th. Everybody says Insurrection Day, January 6th, and they say all kinds of dumb shit. So I said, if I'm going to be in DC on my birthday, I'm going to go to the Capitol, and I'm going to take back my birthday. So I had business to tend to, and when that was over, we did a little sightseeing with my family. My family had come down after business stuff was done and over with. So we did some sightseeing, and the Reflection Pond, beautiful. If you've never been to DC, to some of our national landmarks and the National Mall, you really should go and visit. Sorry, I didn't need to put that up there. The Lincoln Memorial. I mean, these places are just breathtaking. I feel something when I go here. So I took lots of pictures. That's my mouse doing it. So inside the Capitol building, the rotunda, the ceiling is just beautiful, and there's significance to it. Like there's certain presidents that are up here. There's angels that are up here. I don't remember the story. You can Google it, but it's beautiful. They have a lot of the presidents. They have Ronald Reagan. They have a lot of presidents' statues. A lot of gifts that are given to the presidents get displayed in these buildings. But it's just beautiful. So if you do the tour, they take you to the original Senate building or the original Senate room, and you can walk in and take photos. And I thought it was really cool because it still looks, if you've ever watched any of the oversight hearings, the Senate oversight hearing meetings, there's a Capitol Hill YouTube channel where a lot of depositions and things are posted, or you can watch them in live time. So they happen in a room that looks very, very familiar to this one. So when they built the new, they still kept it very original looking. But DC, so I got to see my president while I was down there. It's going to piss off a lot of people. I really don't care. I've never been allowed to vocalize or be open or have opinions about politics or geopolitics or anything because of Southern legal stuff. I don't really care what people think. I voted for Trump. I'm happy that he's our president. Is he perfect? Absolutely not. Has he made mistakes? Definitely. And I'm sure that he will continue. But I was excited to get to see President Trump on my birthday. So we walk out of the Capitol building and there's nobody. And I thought, oh my gosh, what happened? I thought something crazy had happened. And they have police officers on motorcycles that are blocking the intersections. And the police officer said, oh no, it's the motorcade. I was like, are you kidding me? The real motorcade? I was so dang happy. This made my birthday. And he waved. I don't know if you can see him or not, but he's like this one right here. And he's waving. Georgia, quit. Stop. The federal police down there, they're pretty cool. They laugh and cut out. Pretty cool guys. So these are just some of the pictures that we took for the Korean War Veterans Memorial, which is moving. The Marine Corps War Memorial is really cool. Like you just feel something when you're down there. So that FDR Memorial was probably one of my favorite places to go. I loved walking through, seeing his quotes. It was really cool. And the story about his dog is really cool too. If you haven't looked at it, you should look that up. We did the National Museum of Natural History, and that's where the real Hope Diamond is at. It's very pretty. It's huge too, by the way. The reflection pond was probably one of my favorites. Yeah, she sees stop it. Quit. You can see some squirrels outside. There was a deer that walked by. That. Calm down. Get down. Get down. Get down. 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 Georgia May, get down. Thank you. Get out of the window so she can't wild out. She wilds out like wilds all the way out. But I'm excited to go back and see what the new reflection pond looks like. I guess it just had a good cleanup. But when we were down there, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, it's gorgeous. But it was quite dirty. You could take really good pictures, but you could tell that it hadn't really had any work done to it for a while. So I'm pretty excited to go back and see what it looks like now. There's going to be a big festival, a big celebration down there for 4th of July this year, country's 250th birthday. And I thought about going down for that, but I think I'll wait after. But yeah, I think everybody should go to our capital and spend time in some of these museums and monuments and check out history for yourself. Don't just believe what people tell you. Don't just listen to the same shit. Go and physically put hands on the ground and experience it for yourself. Don't go in January. Go after April when it's nicer. One of the most moving places ever is the tomb of the unknown soldier at Arlington Cemetery. We stayed in an Airbnb in Arlington, and we spent a whole day at Arlington Cemetery, and we watched the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, the changing of the guards. We had a little Q&A with some of the staff that was there, walked around the facility. We did the bus tour, and we got off and walked a little bit ourselves, but man, this place is just moving. It's a wonderful place. Just some puppers. So the little boy that we donated the bike to, got to spend some time with them in another state. Met up with them to do some hiking and just hanging out. And our puppies love to be in the car. They love to go for car rides. Some more family time. Charleston getting acquainted at home. Thank you, Wandering. Okay, I got you. Fueled by Metallica. Yeah, that's a good one too. Thank you, Wandering. It's a little boring. I just wanted to explain and do some show and tell. Where have I been for the last couple of years, and why, haven't I been around that much? Well, because I just have real life stuff going on, and wanted to get back to a place of peace and joy and happy, and not stressed out, not having to worry about stupid internet dumb people and all of that stuff. But yeah, I do have. I was going to talk about it tonight. Maybe we will a little bit. This is a hiking hill in southern Ohio. Hiking Hills is a national park or a state park. I'm not sure which one. Tons of trails. It's one of the most beautiful hiking areas that I've ever been to ever. Love Hiking Hills. So they have cabins that you can rent everywhere. All around the property, all around Hiking Hills, outside of Hiking Hills, and Creola had this really cool Airbnb. They had different campers, some campers, some cabins, and they took a no, Gigi. They took an old caboose, an old train caboose. So we didn't stay in this one. We stayed in a cabin, but a couple spots behind us. On the way to the first trail that we hiked that day was this little cabin, they called it. But this is a 2-person. We stayed in a 4-person. But it's an actual, I just said it. Goes on the ass end of a train, caboose. It's a caboose. It still has the handbrake on it. It still has the knuckle on it. It still has the air hose on it. It still has the climbing ladder on it. It's original. it's in its original state. And I very much wanted to go in just to see what it looked like on the inside. There's yard jobs that I've worked where we used cabooses, and there was a couple of short line trips, like from Bellevue to Sandusky, where we would have to shove down through the main to get from one yard to the next. And so we used cabooses, and we don't anymore. That was 20 years ago. But so it was really neat to see that somebody had turned a caboose into an Airbnb. I really wanted to see the inside of it, but didn't get the chance. But these are some photos from Hocking Hills, where bye, Wandering Scorpio. I hope you have a great evening. This is one of the trails. I think this is the main Hocking Hills trail. So we did some day hiking before we left. And it's just beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. This was just a few weeks ago. I found the most delicious sangria I've ever in my whole life had. I don't know if they sell it where you're at, but they had it in Kroger of all places. So I grabbed a jug and had some strawberries and blueberries and raspberries that I cut up and put in there. It was so good. So I brought the rest of it home. This was after we got back. More plants. Tater, my friend Tater, one of my best friends forever and ever. Love her so much. She's got me addicted to plants, and she's coaching me through it. So far, all of my plants are doing really well. This I just thought was funny. I'm going to add this to an intro. Isn't that cute? I just thought it was cute. I don't know why I put it in this album, but I think it's cute. Yeah, so Tater got me so addicted to these plants. So these are, I just have some photos of some of the plants that I've been momming up. Now I'm addicted. I think I have 30, and I'm going to head out probably tomorrow and grab a couple more. Oh, you couldn't hear it? Crap. Okay. Well, that sucks. I'll see if I can figure out another way to play it. Here in West Virginia, where I live at one of our state parks, a friend from Indiana came down for a couple of nights, and we did some hiking, and we found this really pretty memorial log, military log. And I just loved it. So I wanted some pictures in front of it. Charleston's favorite way to sleep. He just curls up in a ball, crashes out. He's just so cute. You just can't deny how freaking cute they are. And that they're not locked up in a hotel room all day and night. Simply amazing. So I did this thing. So I got me a little miniature greenhouse and some grow lights. And all my vegetables are growing from seed this year. Instead of buying vegetable plants, I planted the seeds, and boy, did they grow. Now I have little pots everywhere. A vertical tower garden and some pots everywhere with my veggies growing in them. And I'm super happy about it. Just a cute one of Georgia arguing with me. Can you hear that? Can you hear the sound in that? Oh, crap. Okay. Well, I'll have to redo this then so I can add the sound to it because she's barking at me, telling me off. That's what those videos were. They're just being cute as ever. And my seeds started sprouting. They did so good. I was so happy. I planted too many because, a lot of times the seeds don't sprout. So I was shocked at how many actually sprouted. So I have a couple of different vertical gardens and then some pots for the seeds. And I'm really happy with how good they're doing. That's crazy. It didn't have sound with it. I'm glad you said something because here I thought they were all sound. Okay, so originally what I had planned to talk about today was how is it doing? And I think maybe tomorrow evening. I'll have to check with Ocean and Tater and see what they think. But got all these new settings, man. I'm just not familiar with any of them. I'm gonna have to play around on here a little bit. So anyway, so something I wanted to talk about tonight. Maybe I'll play a couple of the videos to show you. But so I'll tell you how I got here about the ticks. So a few weeks ago, we had an alert here in West Virginia about a rise in ticks and Lyme's disease cases. And, you know, I have 2 dogs and I'm always checking them for ticks. And I have pulled ticks out of their hair before, but thankfully they've never attached. And unlike Bombshell, my dogs go to the vet regularly and they're on the Simparica trio, you know, which helps with all of that stuff. I do everything preventative that I can to keep them healthy. That's one of the things, but I had found ticks on them. Up in Hocking Hills, I had found ticks on them. And thankfully they weren't attached. They were babies. They were in their fur. But, you know, I comb them out twice a day, every day, just to make sure every time we go outside and we come back in, I'll check them for ticks. So I found a tick on me and it had latched, it had bit, and it was on my hip bone, my right hip. I'd show you a picture, but somebody would make it something inappropriate. So I'm not going to show you a picture, but long story short, I started Googling and researching ticks in this area when we got the alert. So it was on our local news, and then my weather alert. I had weather alert on my weather alert map talking about an uprising ticks that had Lyme's disease and symptoms and all of the stuff to be cautious about. So in doing my research, I found that we're not the only area. And then I found that there were farmers and people that live in very rural country areas that are finding mysterious boxes. And let me pull up the video and show you what I'm talking about. They're finding in certain areas. So when I say certain areas, I mean, like here in West Virginia, there's a data center that's being built. It's up in the northern part of the state, but there's a huge data center that's being built. And the company that's building the data center has, for the last couple of years, maybe 3 or 4 years even, been trying to talk farmers and people who live in that area into selling their property for this data center. And most of them are holding out. Nope, we don't want it. No, we don't want it. We've had community meetings, even as far south as where I live, and I'm a couple hours away from it. So we've had meetings about the data center and how it's going to affect our area. West Virginia, you know, most people, when they think of West Virginia, they think of backcountry, you know, hillbilly powers. We're pretty up to date. We have big cities. We have malls and touristy areas, and it's beautiful here. I absolutely love it here. As a little girl that grew up in Augusta, Georgia, and then I lived in Northern Ohio. I've been back and forth between the 2 states my whole life, 49 years. And I love West Virginia. West Virginia is just peaceful. It's beautiful. I love Appalachia. So when I'm researching and digging into trying to find out what the heck's going on with all these ticks, and then I find a tick on me, go to the doctor. The way that my doctor, well, first of all, I called the vet and said, you know, what should I be concerned about? I actually scheduled a vet appointment, went in and talked to the vet about ticks and just to get more information about keeping my dog safe. When I found the tick on me, I went to the doctor, and their reaction freaked me out a little bit. Not gonna lie, freaked me out a little bit. And as I'm doing my digging, there's videos of people, like I said, that are finding ticks in boxes in their area. There's one video, I'm looking for that one now. I think it's this one. There's a video where a woman actually video records a helicopter hovering over her land. Let me just show it to you. And so as I'm watching this and I'm learning more about it, I thought people should be aware of this stuff. People should people should be aware. So this is in Kentucky. Like, how do you protect yourself from something if you don't know what what you need to protect yourself from? So let me come back over here, hit the screen share, bear with me. Here we go. Okay. I'm gonna grab the link for it and drop it in the chat. Go watch it for yourself. But I would like to have a stream and talk about this because I feel like people should know what the heck's going on. So this is from VAHB0077. So a farmer in Appalachia, Kentucky reports this is the second pass of a helicopter over their privately owned homestead farmland. They deployed long line sling load, I'm not sure what that means, operations of unknown origin. The tail number comes back to the Department of Interior and the fleet of contracted aircraft. They made no contact with the owner. Kentucky is the next target for data centers after Ohio. We have one in West Virginia, one in Ohio, one in Kentucky. That's where they're, the one here in West Virginia that they've already started building. So it says that's why they want to get rid of Massey. Let me know if you can hear this.
I have no clue.
Can you hear that one?
Who these people are or what they're doing, but they're on our fucking top field. Who the fuck? What are y'all even doing? I don't know about you, but it's on this crap. Fuck. Literally in our top field. Oh, there they go.
And these farmers here have every right to be extremely upset in this.
So clearly it's a helicopter. They're either picking up or dropping off something. I don't see anything at the other end of that. It looks like a big magnet to me. I'm not sure how the operations work or how it works, but yes, Georgia residents are fighting up land grabs right now. Also, Georgia Power, they have a bunch of land grabs for power lines or power grids or something to do with Georgia Power, electricity.
The situation, these farmers this time in Appalachia, Kentucky, they're saying that this was the second pass of a helicopter over their privately owned property, their homestead and farmland. And you could see in the image that they deployed these long lines, like a sling load. You can see it in the image on the right there that was hanging below the helicopter. Now, for those that follow me, the thing with helicopters isn't too new because they're going over me and my property out here in the middle of nowhere, left and right. But this, at the top of the property, busted, suspending a line down onto the property. Have you guys seen anything like this? There are comments that have already been made that it could be boxes of ticks, that it could be...
Now, I know that sounds crazy, but hold your thought because I have a 1-year-old news report talking about this, something similar to this, talking about ticks.
A device that's a magnetometer or something that's trying to measure things in the area, but people chimed in that actually do that work and said that the payload on the bottom of this rope does not match the size for that to be, that it looks like it's something else. The person that took the video in Appalachia also says that the tail number comes back to the Department of Interior. What are they up to? Huge question.
So it's kind of weird, right? I think it's weird. So as I'm researching, I find this. Let me read this too before we hit play on it. But I'd like to do a stream about this because, like I said, I think people should know what's going on with these ticks. Like, there's ticks that are foreign to our country, that are foreign to the areas that they're being found in. There's now health departments, fire departments even. Like in a lot of areas, they say if you find a tick, save it, put it in a bag, and drop it off at the fire department. some fire departments are offering to come pick them up, but they want to track and they want to test and they want to share information about these ticks. This was 6 years ago. It was republished again last year, a year ago. So July 21st, 2019 says a lawmaker from New Jersey wants the government to reveal if it has weaponized ticks. And there's more about this. Let me hit play for it.
Congressman from New Jersey wants the Pentagon to reveal whether it experimented on ticks with the goal of turning them into weapons and whether this led to the spread of Lyme disease in the U.S. Fox News national correspondent Jennifer Griffin.
What the heckle? Stand by. 1 moment. What the heck was that? Is this why everybody is going to other streaming platforms? Okay, here we go. So I think it's curious. I mean, I'm curious about it, and the more I research about it, the more curious I get. Here we go. Sorry about that.
Borrelia burgdorferi, known to millions as Lyme disease, infects more than 300,000 Americans a year. It is spread by infected deer ticks. Not treated, it could lead to neurological damage. Now lawmakers want to know, where did infected ticks come from, and is the Pentagon to blame? Congressman Chris Smith points to a secret Army bioweapons program to weaponize ticks in the 1950s.
Bioweapons specialists stuffed ticks with pathogens that cause severe disability, disease, even death to potential enemies.
Army labs like Plum Island and Fort Detrick, not far from the largest concentration of Lyme cases, were capable of breeding millions of bugs a month. The link was first outlined by Stanford's Chris Newby, who wrote about it in Bitten, The Secret History of Lyme Disease and Biological.
So before you go on the Vilomah's lost her mind, she's a conspiracy theorist. Before you hit that button, because I felt like that at first too, let me just tell you that if you Google your area, like in the state of West Virginia in 2020, there were like 400 cases of Lyme disease. In 2023, there's like 480 cases of Lyme disease. There wasn't that many. As of April, I think it was 26th of 2026, this year, there's 3,300 cases of Lyme disease in the state of West Virginia. Confirmed cases of Lyme disease in people. We're not talking about pets. We're talking about people. And so I think you should Google. There's ticks that are being found, like I said, that are not native to the area. And they're being found where these big projects, like Hater's talking, like land grabs, Georgia Power land grabs, in West Virginia, in Kentucky, in Ohio, areas, where they want to build data centers, or people's companies, they're doing what they can. Well, then it reminds me of COVID. It reminds me of the initial conversations when COVID hit and the pandemic started. It reminds me a lot of that. It just doesn't make any sense why they are doing that. Why try to make people sick? Terrorists or homeland is the question. And there's so many theories that are out right now. So many theories, from terrorist attacks to, government. I don't know what to think. I really don't know what to think.
Weapons.
Oh yeah, it's interesting that you said that, Tater, because the next video that I have to show you. Hey Kamikaze, you didn't miss anything really. I just showed some videos and pictures of life in general over the last couple of years, where I've been, what I've done, why I haven't been here, kind of thing. But we're talking about right now ticks that are being found all over the place. Let me back this up in a minute. I think it's important. I think people should know, but I think you should Google your state, even your county. You can Google your county, and then Lyme disease, tick Lyme disease, something that will show you if you're in an area where there's a drastic increase in the number of Lyme disease in ticks that are being found. Now, initially, when I had the conversation with my veterinarian, she says ticks, like a lot of other bugs and allergens, when we don't have a cold winter long enough, like a normal winter like we're supposed to, the ticks and the bugs and the the mold and the pollen and the allergens, like they don't go down into the ground and get frozen for a long period of time, killed off. And so we have, originally that's what they thought, because we've had such mild winters the last couple of years that, there's an increase in ticks. But then I started seeing this stuff.
And biological weapons. She interviewed William Bergdorfer, who worked for the U.S. military in the 50s growing microbes inside ticks.
They experimented on ticks that could live in cold climates for campaigns against the Russians.
Bergdorfer, for whom Lyme disease was named in 1982, suffered from late-stage Parkinson's. He hinted before he died that the outbreak may have been a bioweapons experiment run amok.
The concern now is that there might have been accidental leaks and exposures, releases.
Smith sponsored an amendment to the Defense Authorization Act that would require the Pentagon's Inspector General to investigate. Newby has been accused by some scientists like Michael Osterholm of concocting a conspiracy theory. Quote, "There's just no credible evidence."
I interviewed one person who worked indirectly for the CIA, and he claims he dropped poison ticks on Cuban sugar workers in 1962 as part of the effort against Castro.
Her critics say Bergdorfer may have been confused by his Parkinson's disease.
He felt really guilty about what he did. I believe that what he was trying to say is, something bad happened here and I want it out before I die.
The House amendment will die unless the Senate votes to keep it in the 2020 Defense Authorization Bill, which would force the Pentagon to investigate whether these weaponized ticks ever got loose. At the Pentagon, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
That's weird, right? What Tater just said about vaccinations. So then I found this video. Let me grab this link and drop this one in the chat too. So this one, get rid of that. Okay. So this one came out 3 weeks ago from a channel called Going Viral. Had almost 8,000 views on it. Like, people just really aren't talking about this. It's very new. Like I said, when I had a tick latched on my hip, I started Googling and researching and finding all of this stuff.
You should do a little research. What I want to know is, why are people finding box of ticks on their farmland, specifically large farms with cows, sheep, goats, horses? What reason would people want to spread ticks and make that become a problem for farmers? I think we better start researching this and find out what exactly is going on, because this is quite concerning. And it's not just one person, it's not just one farmer, but many farmers are finding ticks on their property. But this is really weird. I know Pfizer is coming out with some new products to help get rid of Lyme disease, but that can't have nothing to do with it. We all know we can trust our government. Does anybody have any ideas what the hell's going on? Why they're finding boxes full of ticks in open fields on people's properties? Something's really weird.
So it's not just one place where this is happening at. In fact, let me show you this one. This is a short on YouTube. This is a YouTube short. Put this one in the chat. I'm gonna go back to the chat and grab these and put them in the description down below. But so this one, I gotta remember. Okay, there they are. Let's see. I think this is the one that's a year old. That was one of the first one. I think this one, August 16th, 2025. So not quite a year old yet.
The U.S., there's evidence the U.S. started doing similar research.
Yeah, we took like Himmler's good ideas and General Ishi's good ideas and supersized them. So the main subject of my book, Willy Bergdorfer, was brought over from Switzerland because he was an expert on Q fever, a biological weapon of choice during World War II. He flew over. The biological weapons program in Fort Detrick, Maryland, gave him assignments. He would research things. The goal was to create virulent strains that nature had never seen before. So then those ticks could be weaponized and dropped on our enemies.
Are you suggesting?
So that's weird, right? I think it's weird. I think that there's something to be said about the number of people that are finding ticks, the number of Lyme's disease cases, and it's not just Lyme's disease. There's other diseases that ticks are, that they're finding ticks with, and non-native species of ticks that are being found in areas that they've never been seen before. Appalachia is ate up with it right now. Actually, I have a neighbor that has a Dachshund, and the Dachshund is recovering from a Lyme's disease episode. Had spine and back issues. Like his little guy's hind legs weren't working. Had a little wheelchair apparatus that he struggled to use for a while. He's walking now, and he can go up and down the stairs now, but he's still not back to normal. They don't think he ever will be. But little pup was diagnosed about 8 months ago, and it's so horribly sad to see. But cases of Lyme's disease are spiking. Yeah, something's going on with it, Kimmy. Something is definitely going on with it. When you start looking at the areas where it's happening, there's big projects that are there, like in Georgia. Tater was talking about down in Georgia. Georgia Power is trying to pull some land grabs right now. I think I have a video about that. There's a girl talking about her childhood home is being eminent domain. They're declaring eminent domain. But I have news articles here from Chicago, from Philadelphia. I have articles from all over the place, and it's starting to hit the news. It's starting to hit the internet a little bit. Yeah, there's something weird going on with ticks. Something very weird. I don't know if that's something that everybody would be interested in talking about, but I believe it too. We have a yellow hornet alert in Georgia too. Yeah, the yellow hornets. They're lethal. They're attackers. They're scary. They're very scary. But I'd like to do a stream about it. I'd like to do some research on it. I'd like to do a little digging on it. I think this is the one about hot spots. There's maps. You can look online. Find maps in your area. I'm just scared. Awesome. Let's see if this is the one. They're not telling you about the mysterious tick outbreak in 2026. So this is from like a Doomsday Prepper channel. I need to watch it again because I don't remember. What let's see real quick. I can't remember. Oh, yeah. Okay. So this one's like 23 minutes. I just want to show you some spots that are in it, some sections that are in it. I remember now. I did watch this. So this was 10 days ago. And description says ticks are spreading alpha gel syndrome and Lyme's disease across America. And the government cover-up goes back decades. Boxes of live ticks have been mysteriously appearing on farms, leaving farmers baffled and concerned about the potential risks of tick-borne illness, including Lyme's disease and alpha-gal syndrome. I keep saying that. It's alpha-gal, a condition that can cause a red meat allergy and anaphylaxis. The sudden tick outbreak has sparked fears of a potential public health crisis, with many wondering if the Lone Star tick is to blame. Some have even speculated about a tick conspiracy, with theories ranging from ticks being dropped from a plane to a sinister plot to spread disease. But what's really happening? In this investigative documentary, we delve into the unexplained mystery surrounding the boxes of ticks on farms, exploring the hidden history and potential causes of the phenomenon. From the symptoms of Lyme's disease to the dangers of alpha-gal syndrome, we examine the facts and separate them from the fiction, including the debunked claims about Plum Island ticks and the Snopes wrong report. I don't know what the Snopes reports are. But watch a few minutes of this. And let me got the link for it quick. Oh, get off of it.
Okay, so
All right, I'm gonna hit play and then I'll drop the link in there. We have a huge gnat problem here. Right off the Delaware River, and it gets right through like that. DC had on the Potomac, there were a lot of gnats around the cherry blossom trees in that area. And from the Potomac, it was pretty rank too. They want us sick to smooth anyway. Yeah, that's what's crazy about it. I don't necessarily think it's the government. I think it's some big companies. Like here in West Virginia, I have to do some research on the data center, but find out the company behind the data center. I don't know what's going on with it, but I know something is going on. It's obvious something is going on. When you look at the numbers and the spikes in cases, the new ticks in this area, the areas that they're in, you know, it just takes me back to pre-COVID. You know, I worked on the railroad. I was a railroader, and we were immediately declared essential to the government, or essential to essential workers. We were immediately declared essential. They gave us the paperwork, all the shit. He said, even if you're sick, you have to report to work. You can't miss any work. We were treated like lab monkeys during the pandemic. All of us, within days of the first two coworkers coming down with COVID, you lost your job if you didn't report to work. Unless you were in the hospital on a ventilator, your ass had to be at work, period. End of it. They weren't happening. And they did mass layoffs at the beginning of it to make sure that people weren't even getting time at home. They ran us from one end to the other with 10 hours off. That was it. You get off work, from the minute you clocked off or you logged out, you recorded off duty, you had 10 hours. They were calling you to come back to work. Some guys got held at the away from home terminal, so they would go to their home terminal, take a train like to Portsmouth, Ohio, or Fort Wayne, Indiana, or Chicago, or wherever, and they would hold you in a dorm, even sick. They would tell you to bunker down in your room and don't come out. It was hell. All of us were sick with it. But the way that it was declared a pandemic, the way that, I mean, obviously people knew something was up. People knew something was going on. By the time they figured out what it was, you know, by the time we had the Senate oversight hearings and the whistleblowers and people that came forward with the truth, you know, everybody was still calling it just a random pandemic. This feels a lot like that in different ways, but it feels very similar to that.
farmers across the country are saying that they're finding tick boxes filled with live ticks on their property, just sitting there, dropped off. And millions of people believe the story is true, but the CDC says nothing. So either this is the dumbest conspiracy in the history of the internet, or it might be true. Now, I think I found something pretty interesting, so we're going to take a look at it. But before we do that, I want to just let you know that Snopes, the debunking website, has investigated this claim. They say that the story is false. They said it started with an Instagram post in April, and they're saying that the whole thing is false. They contacted all of these different municipalities in Missouri, specifically Missouri, and asked them if there was any reports of tick boxes being found. They found no reports, so they're saying the whole story is false. Now, does that mean the whole story is false? Not necessarily. What it means is either that the people that they contacted didn't have that report, because if a farmer did go to like their local police department and was like, hey, I found this box of ticks on my property, do you think the police are going to A, file a police report, and B, send that police report up the chain to...
If you remember, when the COVID pandemic first started happening, it was the same situation. People were falling sick with the same symptoms, but we were being told, well, it's not what you think. It's don't use your critical thinking and come up with common sense theories as to what's going on. Oh no, everything's good. Everything's good. Kind of the same thing.
The state government? I really don't think so. I think what would happen would be if a farmer did take a box of ticks, or even just went to the police department and was like, hey, I found this on my property, the cops would be like, okay, I mean, what do you want me to do about it? So I think that just because Snopes didn't find any official reports from Missouri doesn't necessarily mean it's not true. And I found something that Snopes absolutely missed, because they're saying that it started with an Instagram post saying, oh, it's all fake. It all starts with this Instagram post and it's just hysteria. But they missed something, and I found it. So we're going to talk about.
So remember the number of people that said, oh, that's not true. Remember, oh, Chicago has thousands of cases. Oh, no, that's been debunked. It's not true. What happened? Chicago had thousands of cases. Oh, no, Atlanta's not ate up with COVID. That's people on the internet just talking. It's not true. What was true? Atlanta had thousands of cases. New York is the hub of the virus. Oh, no, that's not true. That's not true. Weeks later, yeah, New York is the hub of the virus. I mean, it just feels like
about it right now. So on March 16th, 2026, like 2 weeks before Snopes said that this whole story began, there was a forum post. I think it was at like 2 a.m. on a forum called GLP, Godlike Productions. And I know that is considered a conspiracy forum, and it is, but doesn't necessarily mean that what's on there is incorrect, because somebody posted something on that site 2 weeks before Snopes said that this whole story began that confirms everything, and it adds another layer to this story. Now, again,
it's like people like Bombshell, living in a freaking hotel with 2 dogs, having zero life, doing nothing with herself. I can understand how infestations could happen. But all these farmers in various places across the country finding boxes with ticks, full of ticks. It's a little too it's a little too coincidental.
When I say it confirms everything, it doesn't necessarily mean that yes, this is factual. What it means is it adds more credibility to the story being true, versus what the mainstream says when they're saying that this story definitely is not true, because we contacted certain places in Missouri and they said no. So this forum post, and I'm going to put it directly on the screen and I'm going to read it word for word. It says this, quote, I work for a private charter company in Ontario, Canada. The company handles booking and chartering flights across Ontario mainly. We are paid to spread ticks by air. It happens twice a year, early spring and early fall. This year, we've been hired to do it earlier. The company receives the ticks in boxes. Each box contains millions of ticks. The aircraft used are generally single or dual prop aircraft, single pilot, and one other passenger that handles the dispersal. It pays a lot. And I mean a lot. Generally, the ticks are dispersed in several specific regions in Ontario. And it's always the same regions each and every year, thus far. Last spring, the ticks dispersed were mostly American.
So do you remember in the early stages of the pandemic, when some of the hospitals in New York had refrigerated trucks, refrigerated trailers, and so many people were dying that they were putting them in refrigerated trucks, and then the trucks were being driven wherever. The bodies were being taken to funeral homes or morgues, or the morgue filled up so fast they were using refrigerated trucks. And then somebody flew a drone over and took video of the refrigerated trucks. And all of the news and all of the officials and all of the people were like, no, that's not what you're seeing. That's not what you're seeing. Years later, post-pandemic, whistleblowers come out, drivers of the trucks come out, and they say, no, that's exactly what was happening. That's exactly what was happening.
And dog ticks, this year, they're all deer ticks, supposedly specifically bred to withstand cold temperatures, end quote. So that post was from March 16th, 2 weeks before Snopes said that this story originated. All right. And it's pretty interesting. Here we have a whistleblower saying that they are paid to disperse ticks across Canada. Now,
so just remember, I showed you a video a few minutes ago of a former CIA whistleblower who said that infected ticks were used as weapons of war. And that was 6 years ago. Hey, Rocco. Oh my gosh, good to see you. Good to see you. I hope you're doing great and having a wonderful spring. Summer's coming quick. I'm loving it.
This sounds eerily familiar to what we're hearing about these boxes of ticks that are being found. And it begs the question, was this person telling the truth? Is this post accurate? And if it is, what are the implications of this? Because it turns out that this whole thing wasn't started by this Instagram post. No, it was already on the internet before that, 2 weeks before that, before the woman who is blamed for starting this conspiracy theory started it. Now, look, I'm not telling you that this anonymous coward from...
Let me say this. I've met and frequently speak to various whistleblowers from the transportation leg of the infrastructure. I can't say a whole lot about it, but from various different occupations and walks of life and careers. And it takes a lot to become a whistleblower. It takes a lot of credible evidence. I gotta be careful how to say this. So whistleblowers are automatically always called conspiracy theorists all the time. You're labeled as stupid. You're labeled as clickbaity, attention seeking. There's nothing scarier than being a whistleblower. Nothing scarier. And if you look back through the history of whistleblowers, most of them are found and murdered. It happens. Most of them are killed. Whistleblowers have been killed right outside of hotels in DC. Not because they're clickbaity, not because they're attention seeking, because they're telling the truth about a company, organization, government office, and what they're saying is more damaging than them killing you. But I find it ironic that all of the whistleblowers that are initially called conspiracy theorists or crazy or clickbaity or attention seeking, years later are confirmed to be truth tellers. Just keep that in mind.
Canada is a verified intelligence source. I'm not telling you that it's 100% true what they said. What I'm telling you is it's very suspicious that there was this post online 2 weeks before the whole story came viral. Now, obviously, we can't prove who this person is, if they made it up or not, because it's on this conspiracy website, GLP. But like I said, what Snopes did to debunk this was they found one viral post and, contacted a bunch of offices in Missouri and was like, see, this viral post is wrong because Missouri says it's wrong. Now, there's also a video circulating from pretty recently, actually.
And it's super easy to say that you debunked a conspiracy or a whistleblower by exactly what he just said. It's super freaking easy. Super easy to say, oh, I don't believe it, or I looked it up and it's not there. Gross.
Filmed by a woman on her own farm, filmed with her phone, and she filmed a black helicopter hovering low on her property, releasing something or trying to release something, because we're not really sure what was released, what wasn't released. But going by this video, this woman found this helicopter on her property in a field and ran up, kind of angry. Here, check.
I'm pretty sure that's the one I just showed you.
Check it out.
We have no clue who these people are or what they're doing, but they're on our fucking top field. Who the fuck? What are y'all even doing? I don't know about you, but that's why this traffic. Literally in our top field. Oh, there they go.
So, and I mean, I think that video looks authentic. Doesn't look AI to me. AI videos have a special AI look to them. This looks like somebody filming from the phone, and she was obviously pretty angry, judging by the F-bombs that she dropped. All right. So yes, it is anecdotal evidence, but here's the thing about anecdotes. When one person sees a black helicopter dropping something on their property, on a farm, in a field, surrounded by trees, yeah, well, maybe that's a story. Maybe that's a hoax. But to say that that's a hoax is kind of far, because this woman...
And it's ironic that the local news wouldn't pick it up at first. The local news wouldn't pick it up until she posted it to social media and it got traction. That's when the local news in Kentucky decided to pick it up and cover it. Anybody who believes anything that comes out of our mainstream media is asking for trouble. I don't believe any of the mainstream media. If I'm curious about something, I fact check it myself. I look it up myself. From non-mainstream media sources.
would have had to hire a helicopter to fly out and then wait there in the trees, waiting for the helicopter to get close. And then she comes out acting all surprised while that helicopter flies away. But that doesn't make sense. Nobody in their right mind would hire somebody to fly a helicopter out to their field just so they can film a video.
So Rocco, we were told several months ago that there was all kinds of different bees, all kinds of different birds, all kinds of different bugs here in West Virginia, close to where I live at. Recently, we've had 3,300 confirmed cases of Lyme's disease in the state, which is, I don't know, 6 times, 7 times the normal amount. It's weird what they tell you right off the bat, right? Bees, that kind of thing. Like it's what they want us to believe. But months later, almost a year later, we're finding ticks that aren't even native to Appalachia that are in the area. And the number of people that have Lyme's disease, the number of animals that have Lyme's disease, like it's crazy to me. It's insane crazy. So to me, it's like COVID. It's like when they, during the COVID pandemic in the beginning, it was like, no, it's not a pandemic. No, it's not this. No, it's not that. It's only spread this way, blah, blah. No, you have to have these symptoms. 2 years later, there's 25 different strains and 30 different vaccinations for it, kind of thing.
Doesn't make any sense.
Weird to me.
So that begs the question, what was that helicopter? Maybe it was a misidentified like agriculture flight or something. But why would they be on private property, right? And why would they?
Yep, Rocco. So what they told us here in this area was it because we had mild winters. All the ticks that go underground don't. Yeah, I don't either. They said all the ticks that winter didn't kill them off, and so that's why we have so many. And it just happens to be that in the area there's boxes. They found boxes of ticks in farmland, and some of the city parks further south from where I live at, they found boxes of ticks. So in all the states where they have the drastic intake or drastic upswing of Lyme's disease cases and this other alpha-gal disease that makes you allergic to red meat, all this crazy stuff, all these illnesses, diseases, these random ticks. I pulled some off my dogs. I had one on me. And it's weird to me. It's weird to me that in the same area where they're going to tell you that it's boxes of bees or, new hummingbirds or, new insects, whatever. Now they have thousands of cases of Lyme's disease in this alpha-gal. It's weird to me. There's a correlation. Excuse me. There's a correlation there that they don't
fly away when they see her coming. Okay, so there's so many things here that aren't adding up with this story. And when millions of people across America are simultaneously reporting the worst tick season that they've ever seen in their entire life, well, maybe it lends credibility that there really is something going on here. And before you scroll away from this video, before you call this a conspiracy, let me tell you something that is on the congressional record. Yes, this isn't just a conspiracy. It's on the congressional record. Now, what is it? Let's talk about it. In 2019, the U.S. House of Representatives, the actual government, ordered what? They ordered the Pentagon to investigate something similar to what we're talking about, to investigate whether the U.S. military has weaponized ticks with Lyme disease and released them into the United States or into the American population. I think it was between 1950 and 1975. Guys, that's not TikTok. That's not a forum post. This is a bipartisan amendment passed by the House of Representatives. And like I said, they were directing to DOD, or what is it, Department of War now, to inspect and to figure out whether this actually happened. And Congress actually is asking this question legally. They're saying, was this done on purpose? Did we do this? And if so, how extensive is this? Okay. Congress didn't ask if the research was happening. Congress didn't ask, if there was some ticks in laboratories somewhere where they're messing with Lyme disease. Congress asked what escaped. And what was the Pentagon's response? Well, it was heavily redacted, which is no surprise given, what we saw happen with the Epstein files. If anything happens, anything gets released, anything gets forced to be released that doesn't suit the big picture that they want us to believe, it gets redacted. And nobody cares because the news cycle just continues on, just like nobody cares about the Epstein files anymore because everybody's now concerned about what? The war in Iran, oil prices, the economy, Trump going to China, UFOs, all of these things. And I do think UFOs are not only real, but they're very important. I also think the Epstein files are very important, and we should not be glossing over them and being distracted by the news cycle, which we obviously are. Now, back to the ticks. So yeah, the report that was
Absolutely.
released after Congress asked was heavily redacted. And the Inspector General investigation for that, well, it was quietly closed.
Yep,
There was no
100%.
public findings,
I agree
no
with every
follow-up
word.
hearings, and a Stanford-affiliated journalist named, I think his name was Chris Newby, he wrote an entire book about it. It's called Bitten. And this
So they do sell this on Amazon. I'll see if I can grab a link for it.
book is on the shelves at Barnes & Noble. You can go buy it right now. So when somebody in 2026 posts on a forum saying that they're being paid to drop ticks from an airplane, I'm not telling you to believe him. I'm telling you that the United States government has already done this once and nobody was ever held accountable. Now, let me show you the numbers because here's where things get a little bit creepy. These are the actual numbers from the CDC, okay? Not from a forum, not from TikTok, not from Instagram. This is from the Center for Disease Control.
Okay, pause that. I gotta step away for 1 minute. Sorry, 1 second. Be right back. Sorry. Puppers needed his little treat. Yep, that's exactly what it was. Georgia was being rotten. I gave him treats and she tried to take his. And he was like, hell no, I ain't having that. Okay. Sibancho, that's how you take care of puppers. You don't just lock them up in a room 24/7. Use them to grift from people on the internet. If you don't love them and take care of them, you don't need them.
2017 to 2019, the average Lyme disease cases were 37,000 per year. In 2022, average cases 62,000. 2023, 89,000. Okay. CDC estimates that actual Lyme disease infections per year are.
Did you hear that? Let me play that part again. That's what I was telling you about. When you start researching the ticks and the Lyme's disease in the areas where these boxes are being found, that's a drastic increase in the number of ticks with Lyme's disease. Freaks me out too. And the stuff they give you at the vet. Yeah. My two little ones are on Simparica Trio. And so far they've been amazing. I have found ticks on both of them, baby ticks in their fur that was easy to pull off, especially in Hocking Hills. That's where the majority of them were. I think I've pulled 1 or 2 off Georgia here at home, and 1 off of Charleston here at home. We live in the middle of Appalachia, so ticks are pretty common in this area. So I check them every day, multiple times. Every time we come out, or we go out and come back in, I comb them. But yeah, it's the stuff that they give you is rough on their stomachs. I don't like giving them anything, but I'm hearing other people say that they treat their animals with whatever, and that they're finding ticks on them. My neighbors that have a Dachshund, their dog is healing up from Lyme's disease about 8 months now. I think it was like 8 months ago that he got diagnosed with it. And his recovery has been horrible for him. Little guy couldn't walk. He couldn't use the back half of his body. It affected his spine and his hips and his little legs. And, he definitely has a funny little walk now. But, at one time the vet said he didn't think that they were going to be able to help him a whole lot. So, yeah, I agree with you.
In 2022, average cases 62,000. 2023, 89,000.
62,000 to 89,000 in 1 year. That's crazy.
2019, the average Lyme disease cases were 37,000 per year. In 2022, Average cases, 62,000. 2023, 89,000. Okay. CDC estimates that actual Lyme disease infections per year are about 500,000. It's like 476,000 or something like that. Guys, this is not a slow climb. This is exponential. This is a vertical line going straight up. And Lyme disease incidences in 2022 was, I think they said it was 68% higher than it was 3 years earlier. That's the CDC's own data from their website and from their investigations, but that's not even the weird part because it gets even weirder. There's a disease called alpha-gal syndrome. This is the one, it gives you a red meat allergy. You get bitten by a Lone Star tick, and after you get bitten by this tick, it releases this disease into your body, and it makes you become allergic to beef, to pork, to lamb, to dairy in some cases even. Eat a hamburger, you're dead. And do you think it's any coincidence while this disease is starting to spread where it's making people allergic to meat that you have people like pushing for meat to be eradicated and for people to eat bugs and people to eat lab-grown meat? Okay, do you think that's a coincidence? I don't know. I'm not saying it's connected, but what I'm saying is this ideology of get the population off of meat and this mysterious meat allergy driven by ticks seem to be coming up into our world at the exact same time. Coincidence? Tell me, put it in the comments. So this disease, alpha-gal syndrome, it was barely...
Right? Isn't that weird? Have you ever heard of alpha-gal syndrome? I never, ever, ever had heard of alpha-gal syndrome. So I started researching this tick conspiracy. Alpha-gal syndrome.
known 15 years ago. Nobody even talked about it. There was a few hundred cases here and there, and nobody really talked about it because it wasn't a big deal. And here we are today where there's an estimated between 100,000 and 450,000 Americans have this disease now, according to the CDC. The CDC is officially calling this increase substantial since 2010. And researchers at VCU last fall called the rise explosive. And pay attention to this. Until last year, doctors thought alpha-gal syndrome only came from the Lone Star tick, which is a southern species of tick usually found in the southern states. However, in March 2025, the CDC confirmed that 2 tick species transmit it, deer ticks and Lone Star ticks. Now that it's confirmed that deer ticks can also carry this disease with Lyme disease, mind you, things are getting a little bit more strange. And now it's spreading through deer ticks that...
Right. So now it's not just one tick that has the alpha-gal syndrome. Now deer ticks also have Lyme disease and alpha-gal syndrome. Like, that's weird, right? I think it's weird.
Didn't carry it until very recently. And I'm not telling you what to think about this. I'm not telling you what to think about the rise in deer ticks and Lyme disease and alpha-gal syndrome. I'm just giving you the facts, people. Now, you might be wondering, okay, well, maybe the deer tick situation is all in our heads. It's not increasing. Maybe Lyme disease has been here the whole time. And that's true. Researchers at Yale found that Lyme disease can be found and has been found in deer ticks in the Northeast forever. They've actually proven that this bacteria has been around for basically forever, as long as they can look back. So that begs the question, why now? Why are so many people around the country getting this disease now, and in the past, they never got it? That's what we should be.
I can tell you that when I found the tick on me just a couple of weeks ago, and I pulled it off, the head didn't come out. The head was stuck in there. When I went to the doctor, doctor was like, "Did you keep the tick?" I was like, "No, I flushed it down the toilet. It was dead." And they showed me pictures, which one do you think it was? I said, well, I took a picture of it. Let me show you the picture. They showed me the picture of it. They knew exactly which one it was, but, they had me taking my temperature twice a day, 2 or 3 times a day for a week. And then taking a photo of my hip, where it bit me at, looking for the rash. They said, they gave me a list of symptoms. If you get this, if you get this, if you get this, document it, write down what time, blah, blah, blah. They're taking it very serious in my area, which freaked me out a little bit. So I went down the conspiracy hole.
You might look back at history and be like, well, you know what? That area of America, New England, and the whole northeastern part of the United States it's wooded. It's heavily wooded. So they might make the logical conclusion that this has always been around. It's just we're talking about it more now because of social media. But 300 years ago, when the American colonies were at war during the Revolutionary War, soldiers slept on the ground. They slept in forests. They walked through forests. They spend all of their time walking through the woods, walking through the forest. So you would think that these people would be 100% covered in ticks all the time, and it would have been the bane of their existence, right? But that's not the case. Think about it, guys. The Continental Army during the Revolutionary War, for years, they walked through New York, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, New England itself, in the exact same regions where Lyme disease is now an epidemic. You'd expect ticks to be a huge problem in the Revolutionary War records, right? But they're not. Read the field hospital reports, read the doctor's notes, read the soldiers' diaries, okay? Because all this information is still around today. We have so much information regarding what it was like to fight in the war, what people had to go through, all the trials and hardships that they went through fighting in the Revolutionary War.
So I showed you photos of DC, the Smithsonian museums, the American history monuments and museums, the war museums. He's not lying. When you go back, if you go to DC, go to all of the museums, memorials that you can go to. You can see the evidence that he's talking about, the journals from the soldiers, the photos, the black and white, old ass black and white photos. You can see the journals and the clothing that they wore. They have full uniforms from, I guess, since the beginning to show you, you know, what these soldiers dealt with and what their field time was like. They didn't have issues like what we have now, right? The absence of evidence. Yeah. It's scary to think about, but it's not a coincidence that these ticks, boxes of ticks, new ticks, diseased ticks, are all showing up in the, you know, in the same areas where the numbers are climbing. But like, how are they getting there? Who's dropping off boxes of ticks out in the middle of nowhere? I mean, think about the Appalachian Trail. Thousands of people make their way to the Appalachian Trail, and they do days or months of hiking throughout the Appalachian Trail. If you've ever been on the AT, you can totally see how quick things like diseased ticks or, you know, bugs that carry diseases, you can absolutely see how fast they can travel, how fast something can go from the northern part of the AT down to the southern part or vice versa. You can see how quick it can happen.
And yeah, there was lice everywhere. Fleas were destroying regiments. I mean, dysentery, like, destroyed men. There was smallpox outbreaks. But ticks? No, not at all. A footnote, maybe, but it was barely mentioned. The best case scenario, you can call the tick situation during the Revolutionary War as unremarkable. In fact, there's only one reference that I could find about ticks even being a thing back then, and it was referenced by, I believe it was a soldier saying that ticks could only be found in the wooded areas far away from the towns. If they would have been bitten a lot, they would have talked about it, because they did talk about all the other things. There's people complaining about mosquitoes, people complaining about big horseflies, there's complaining about all sorts of insects, but ticks, nope. So what we have here is basically in just a few short generations, right? Because I mean, the Revolutionary War seems like it was a long time ago, but 250 years is only a few generations. It's really not that long in the big scheme of things, okay? So scientists will say, yeah, we have warmer winters now. It's because all the deer were depopulated back then, and now they're overpopulated because people aren't hunting them as much.
So I told you what my doctor told me, or what the vet told me, because we had such mild winters. Rocco said in the chat, like further up north, talking about deers, that there's a increase in ticks because of deers.
So it gives the ticks more places to live because they live on deer, hence the name deer ticks. Okay, I guess there's some truth to that, right? And then they also say back then, deer were basically hunted to extinction. It was very rare to see a deer back then because people ate them. And now the hunters are, few and far between. So you have these overpopulations of deer, like we said, and you also have mice and other rodents that are thriving because the food chain is off. You don't have any predators eating the deer, keeping the populations in check like should be naturally. So the deer populations are exploding, and with it, the ticks. And okay, I mean, it makes sense. It's logical, and I give them that, okay? But the thing that's strange about it is the speed of this shift. It doesn't seem normal. And the geographic precision of these tick outbreaks doesn't seem normal either.
That's a good way of saying it. The geographic precision. Building a data center in West Virginia, and we have a tick pandemic. They're not calling it that, but it's kind of starting to turn into that.
The fact is that ticks are moving north, and they're doing strange things now that we've never seen them do before, such as alpha-gal syndrome being found in deer ticks. Deer ticks aren't just spreading north, by the way. They're also spreading south and west, and they're being found all over the place. Check out this map. And if you believe the post that I showed you earlier from GLP, well, they're being specifically engineered to survive cold winters. So it doesn't matter if the winter is the coldest winter on record. According to this poster, the ticks will survive. So with that being said, here's the question that we really need to sit with. If these boxes are true, if these stories are true, what it means is somebody who, I mean, you tell me, is engineering this, the spread of diseases across America for whatever reason. And if the boxes aren't true, that means somebody's lying about it for some specific reason. And here's the part that's crazy, because whether this story is true or not, it kind of has the same outcome, right? So if the story is true, like we said, it means somebody's engineering the disease and they're making ticks more prevalent in places that they never used to be. The outcome of that, well, it's to scare people, to keep people from going in the woods, to keep people into the city, to keep people, you don't spend time in the woods, don't go camping, don't go hiking, don't spend.
So there is a conspiracy out there that this is being done like the pandemic to keep people from interacting with other people, to keep people from socializing in public, to, make people move, to whatever the whole goal over the COVID pandemic was. They're using the same excuses. It's weird.
Time outside, spend money in the city, go out and buy stuff. Okay. It's all about the economy.
Delivered.
But on the other side of this story, if this is not true, it's the same thing. Because if it's not true, the story has been engineered in order to scare people, in order to keep people inside, to keep people scared of hiking, to keep people scared of their own backyards. And this gives this the same result. Okay. So true or not true, the result is the same. People get scared of ticks. And let me tell you what, I'm pretty scared of ticks. All right. And it doesn't keep me from going outside because I luckily, thank God, live in an area where ticks are not that present, even though there are reports of an increased tick season this year, just like it is everywhere else. So we will be looking and doing tick checks after every hike. Now, I am from Connecticut. I live there. That's where I was born. I lived there until I was about 12 years old, pretty close to Lyme, Connecticut, where the Lyme disease situation began, supposedly. And that being said, I can vividly remember being a kid playing in the woods all the time and getting ticks on me all the time. I remember one time I jumped in this bush before school because, I used to walk through the woods to get to school. It was a shortcut. You walk through the woods instead of walking on the side of the road on the sidewalk. So one morning I jumped in a bush before school. I was playing. I don't know why I jumped in a bush, but I jumped in the bush and then I went to school. And while I was at school, I was probably in like 4th or 5th grade or something like that. I remember like rubbing right here, like it was itching, and I felt like bumps, like all these little bumps right there. And I'm like, what the heck is this? So I went to the nurse's office and she said that I had like 100 ticks. I don't know exactly how many, but my whole behind my ear was covered in ticks, just massive amounts of ticks that were eating me. So
I remember years ago when I lived in Ohio, we lived in a house way out in the country and we had a dog, a black lab, and we found ticks on her probably like once or twice a week. We'd use a hot match to, to get it off of her. And then years and years and years of not seeing a tick, not having any encounters with ticks. And then all of a sudden this year, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. It's weird to me. It's almost over.
Yes, this creeps me out just thinking about it. This memory just, it's one of those things. But that was back then. That was probably 1995, that was probably like 1995 or something like that. I can only imagine what it's like in that region now. I haven't been back to New England since probably the late 90s. And yeah, I just hear it's crazy. If you live in New England or you live not in New England and you're seeing deer ticks or other ticks explode in population, put it in the comments. I'd love to read your story. So back to the video. the whole purpose of this, whether true or false, has the same outcome, right? Parents are going to stop letting their kids play outside because fear of ticks. People are going to stop going outside, and they're going to spend more time in the city. They're more reliant on the government. They're more reliant on society itself to entertain them. You have farmers that second guess walking on their own land. You have wilderness areas that are becoming hostile, either because the tick increase is really happening or because we've been convinced of it and it's not true. But I believe it is actually happening regardless of the boxes. If the box story is false, it doesn't make the whole increase in ticks this year and years past any less true, because we do know that ticks are exploding in populations this year. It's an absolute fact. The story about the boxes doesn't have anything to do with the fact that ticks are increasing their numbers exponentially. So
I kind of disagree with that, though. If you research it, you'll see that in in the majority of the areas where these ticks are, the ticks with the Lyme's disease and the alpha-gal syndrome, they are in direct correlation with the areas where farmers, not even farmers, I mean, in Missouri, it's a lot of farmers. In southern West Virginia and southern Ohio and eastern Kentucky, it's a lot of farmers. But there's also areas where people just own a lot of land, and data centers, like Tater was talking about earlier in the chat, Georgia Power, trying to pull a land grab down in Georgia. Let me see if I can find that video while this plays. We're almost done.
the question is somebody doing this on purpose? If the answer is yes, who is that somebody? Is it the government themselves, or is it corporations? We know, based on history, based on the way that the world works, that corporations, the only thing that they do, the only thing that they have to do, the only thing that they focus on doing is making more money. That's their mandate. If you're a CEO of a corporation, your mandate is to make more money. It's always about making money. They don't care about people being harmed in the process. Making money is the end goal, no matter who they have to step on. So the question is, can corporations make money from either putting boxes of ticks out or scaring people about ticks? Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think. Because guys, I'm not trying to freak you out about this. I'm trying to get you to notice and to think about this whole situation critically. Because the second that you start noticing patterns is the second that you stop being manipulated. Now, I want to hear from you.
Okay, I'm going to end it there. But I'm going to say this. The derailment that happened in East Palestine, people say it in different ways. But the Ohio-Pennsylvania border, Norfolk Southern, negligently derailed a train. It wasn't the crew. It was Norfolk Southern corporate. It was their precision scheduled railroading. I have the facts of that incident, and I'm almost ready to come to YouTube and share it with people, because there's a lot of conspiracies out there that that location was selected, that it was done on purpose, that movies that were put out previous were warning, and that some of them were filmed in the same area. So I have a lot of answers to a lot of the questions. It was not intentionally done. It wasn't specifically located in that area. It wasn't that train specifically or that crew. It was called precision scheduled railroading. And with PSR comes new rules, new operating practices and procedures. And those were established during the COVID pandemic. And they were supposed to be temporary because of all the layoffs. So Norfolk Southern, along with CSX, Union Pacific, BNSF, all of the Class 1 railroads figured out that they could declare an emergency. They could lay off half of their workforce, shut down terminals and yards, double up trains, make one crew take two trains in the form of one with distributed power, and save money. They came up with these emergency operating practices to get freight across the road. They took it to the government and said, we have to do it this way because so many of our employees are sick. We don't have enough employees to run the freight. And it is true, if freight doesn't run, it shuts down the country. A lot of government bullshit happened during the COVID pandemic. Class 1 railroads under the FRA leader that we had, Pete Buttigieg, they gave the railroads too much power. The railroads have ultimately been pushing for a one-man crew, which is taking everyone off the train but the engineer. Has nothing to do with who does what job, has everything to do with public safety. And that's why the derailment happened. The detectors that are along the rail that let the crew know if the train is operating as it should be, if the wheel bearings are safe, if the brakes have been taken off, if the lading is shifted, if there's any dragging equipment, the end of train device, the AKA current year, the flashing red box that you see on the last car of every train. They got away, they did away with the caboose and added the end of train device. So it's taking everyone off the train, one person, because they make more money, because their hedge funds grow if they only have one person on the train running 2 trains with an engine in the middle for distributed power. That's why East Palestine happened. And I mean, I have the initial lawsuit, the EPA lawsuit, showing exactly how they lied and they manipulated the paperwork. I have the aerial footage, shows exactly where all of the hydro or the vinyl chloride cars and the benzene cars were at. I have all of it. I'm ready to come forward with all of it. But, back then, they declared these emergency protocols, which are not safe for the public. It's not safe for the crews that are on the train. It's not safe for the people that are living in the communities. But what did it ultimately do? It made those people, all of those people that owned property, that had farms in their families for generations and generations of people that had farmland and working farms that were worth a lot of money, it depreciated, devalued, and wiped out their assets. They couldn't sell those properties for $1. Everything was toxic. It still today is toxic. And so with a little bit of help, we were able to get the real scientists, the real testing materials, the companies that didn't have anything to gain or lose by the outcome or the results of the tests. We were able to get them involved to get the truth out. And then the government said, okay, you have to pay for the value of the home. Well, that doesn't make up for what they lost. It doesn't make up for having to start over. It doesn't make up for having to move their families, states away to try to rebuild. It doesn't help with that they couldn't take anything from their homes. It doesn't help with the illnesses that they have to deal with now, the children that are sterile, the women that can't get pregnant now, the moms that can't breastfeed. It doesn't help with any of that. But where in some cases it's a land grab. They're coming in and destroying the property because they want to take the property from you and do something different with it. But it's the same outcome. Nobody was going to tell the truth about what was really going on. So once the truth came out, it's just like the storms that happen. Just like, storms come in and they destroy areas. Then you get these big companies that come in and want to take the land right out from underneath of you. So in some cases, they create the disaster so that they can take the land from underneath of you. But in other cases, they don't create the disaster, but they damn sure show up in the nick of time. They damn sure show up in the nick of time. It takes people that are willing to stand up and tell the truth, hold the evidence, take it to the people that are the lawmakers. You take it to the people that are going to, create the laws to prevent people from being able to ever do it again. Pfizer is making a new tick shot. I heard this. Yep, it's in my research. So now we have tick drop-offs. Yep, we have them here too. And all of these data centers are going up absolutely everywhere. Who's going to be rolling in dough? It makes no sense. Well, I'm doing a deep dive on it because I'm curious about, to me, it feels a little bit like the COVID pandemic. Like now that we know how they operate, how they hide the information, how they buy out the news media, the mainstream media, how they only let out what they want you to know or what they want you to think, enough to make you crazy, wanting more information. So I'm doing a deep dive on it, and I would like to do a live stream about it and present all of the information that I found. Just like East Palestine, I'm ready to talk about that. I'm ready to talk about my work accident. And I'm just ready to be back on YouTube with people that I care about and people that are curious about the same things. Not in the form of conspiracy crazy. Some of this stuff, sure, it's conspiracy, but when conspiracies turn out to be true, is it still a conspiracy? Yeah, the people are still sick, and we won't know for years how it affected all the rivers. Yeah. So down here in West Virginia, they had a bunch of the water that they brought down, I think it was over in Huntington. They have a big water treatment facility in Huntington, and a lot of the water was brought down and filtered through Huntington. And there's been people in Huntington that have been sick. But it's weird to me that the day after the East Palestine derailment, they could follow the contaminated water right down from the creeks into the Ohio River and then follow it south. They had balloons and they had floating devices in the water, and they were tracking it, and nobody knew about it for 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks later that mainstream media was on the news saying that the contaminated water was being tracked. That's crazy. They knew about it, right? I can tell you that I was a big part of taking the information. I was holding a lot of the evidence. A lot of the people, I was talking with them, communicating with families, with people that lived in the area that were also getting threats. They were also getting bloody tongues delivered to their homes. They also were having people follow them everywhere they went. Their social media was shut down. I've been communicating with them since then, since the first time I did a live stream about East Palestine. And I wasn't allowed to say Norfolk Southern, and I wasn't allowed to say really anything about what I knew and what was going on. I did a couple of streams and shared some of the information, and I was yanked immediately. Do not talk about it again. And I wasn't allowed to talk about it, but I can now. I can talk about it now. The Senate oversight hearings are done. The depositions are done. The people that are being held responsible are being held responsible. I don't know why none of that part hasn't hit mainstream media, how Norfolk Southern has had to pay hundreds of millions of dollars to the community, which again doesn't make up for what these people have suffered and lost and what they've gone through. Doesn't make up for the respiratory diseases that they're going to live with. But thankfully, J.D. Vance, who was a senator at the time, and a big Democratic senator, and if it weren't for J.D. Vance, the information, the truth, the real truth of what NS was doing to cover up their mistakes would have never made it to DC. It never would have went to the lawmakers. And, I know a lot of people don't like President Trump. A lot of people do like President Trump. I can tell you that the President Trump's administration wanted all of it. The previous administration wanted none of it. They wanted to collect it, and then they wanted you to shut up. They didn't want you to talk about it. Pete Buttigieg, one of the first moves that Trump made was getting Buttigieg out of the FRA, and the information that was given to some of the senators, that was given to J.D. Vance when he was a senator, has made its way to D.C. People were called in for depositions. Decisions are still being made, but President Trump's administration gave a shit about what happened in East Palestine. I have the proof. I'm willing to come forward and talk about it. It's one of the reasons I'm happy for President Trump. But, I lived in Ohio. That was the railroad that I worked for. The crew that was on the train, I knew. Bellevue, Ohio, Mormon Yard is the largest railroad, largest class 1 rail yard in North America. And a lot of bad shit goes on in that yard. And as an employee, there's this thing called conduct unbecoming. And if you ever make any negative or disparaging comments or remarks about Norfolk Southern, they fire you instantly. And I'm not under that loophole anymore. I can say whatever I want. I can talk about it now. And I'm happy to talk about how horrible they are. I am more than happy. It is a favorite pastime of mine now to talk about how corrupt and horrible Norfolk Southern truly is. How they almost killed me. And then when they found out that I didn't die, they wanted to kill me. They wanted me dead. They wanted me to shut up because they knew I'm just not someone who's going to sit and fold on it when it's something that big. So I'm excited to come and talk about it. I'm excited to share it with people. Sleuth Mom, has been an online friend for several years now. I have world of respect for Sleuth Mom. I think the world of her. I love her channel. I know she's had some life changes go on, so she's not live that much. And sometimes she goes live on another platform. I'm not sure if it's Rumble. I'm going to have to look and see because I haven't had a whole lot of YouTube time. But I'm hoping to be able to co-stream with her and bring all of the documents and the evidence that I have I know that there's some people in the drama community that like to laugh and crack jokes and make comments about me when it comes to helping with the East Palestine. They'll say things like, how's Erin Brockovich doing? She's doing very well, for the bitch that asked me that question several times from a chat or a panel. She's doing very fucking well. That woman is a fierce. She is fierce. She is fierce. That's the one word to describe Erin Brockovich. Fucking fierce. She backs down from nobody. She has morals and ethics, and she is fierce. There's no stopping her when you're on her radar. And Norfolk Southern's been on her radar for a while, and I don't think that's going to change, but precision scheduled railroading is on her radar. And I think everybody who lives near a railroad tracks that's being used for freight, I think everybody should be aware, because what happened in East Palestine is going to happen again over and over and over until legislators flat out deny the one-man crew, which has happened. It's happened under this administration. The railroads will never have a one-man crew. But, you know, whoever our next president is, hopefully has to feel the same way about how dangerous Class 1 railroads can be, because it's going to continue happening. While the hedge funds grow and the yards get shut down and the trains get longer, the crews get worked over and over and over, denied their time off, denied their vacations, denied their rest hours. They're going to continue to happen. Past president didn't do a thing for, Helene victims. It was horrific for all. Yeah, it's astounding the difference in not curiosity, but the difference in acting, you know, not just feeding a line of shit. Like, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm going to do, and then freaking doing it is night and day. And like I said, there's some things I totally disagree about or disagree with President Trump. There's some things that I absolutely do not agree with him. And then there's some that I absolutely am so thankful and so glad that he's our president right now. Not everything can I say that, but when it comes to the things that I'm passionate about, East Palestine, mental health, grieving, you know, medication and medical and the whole medical industry. Like, I'm super happy about those things. I'm ecstatic about those things. But anywho, I'm glad I came live tonight. I was a little nervous, I have to admit it. I was a little scared, and I like having just a handful of us here. Not that anybody isn't welcome or anything, but it's not as nerve-wracking having a bunch of drama people in your chat. Like, I'm always going to throw dags in about Bombshell. Till that bitch pays me back every penny, I got nothing for her. And I'm going to make comments and I'm going to say whatever I want to, because I thoroughly am enjoying watching the downfall. Like, I just want to say this. I think it's, people say karma all the time. People make comments about karma this and karma that and whatever. But rarely do you ever get to see it. Rarely do you get to see that. Like, there's some people that were just like flat out monsters on this platform. Flat out the worst of the worst. Unnecessarily using real life horrible tragedies as weapons of, you know, whatever on the internet, slinging mud. Take it way too far. Like, I'm a bitch, okay. I'm ugly, okay. You think I look like a crackhead, okay. Whatever, those are your opinions. But they go the extra mile. They do it in ways that you can't even vocalize. Like, you can't even come live and be like, saying this about my son or saying this about me or whatever. It's not worth it. But then the day comes that you see that they're living what they wished on you. When they take from you and squander it and piss it and throw it away and burn it and do nothing with it over and over and over. And then the people before you and people after you that are really good people, very kind, very giving people who care about other human beings. And you see the same thing happen to them. It's like, when does it stop, right? Well, Mo stopped it. Mo, Snake, Katz, and Danielle, they figured it out. They left. I've had the chance to talk to them in private, to get to know them, to learn about them. They're wonderful people. I think the world of those ladies. In fact, there was a lot of shit from the drama shit that I just couldn't, never thought I would get past it. I thought every time it comes to my brain, it's going to make me rage, or it's going to make me really sad, or it's going to make me this, that, or whatever. And the opportunity to meet with Mo, not like physically, but you know what I mean, but the opportunity to speak to these 4 women and get the closure, get the answers, you know, talk to them. I don't have any of those feelings or emotions anymore. Like, none of it affects me. I don't give a shit. Do not give a shit. There's so much good in my life today. There's so much good going on in my life today. I have so many good people surrounding me. Everybody around me is a really good person. And we support each other and we lean on each other. And it's great. Nobody can touch that, right? But I do find joy in watching the karma hit. I can't help it. I find joy in it. Call me a bad person. I don't care. You didn't walk in my shoes. You didn't live my life. You didn't have my nights of, you know, not being able to sleep. You didn't experience what I experienced. I don't give a fuck if you judge me. I'm enjoying watching karma hit. And I do still keep waiting for the day that she wakes up and goes, okay, nothing has worked. Here's what I got to do. I'm going to have to find a job that actually makes money. I'm going to have to make out a budget for myself. I'm going to have to save some money to get myself out of this situation. I'm going to have to do it because Mo has pretty much destroyed any opportunity to come to YouTube and grift and ask for money. There might be a handful of scragglers, toss a cash app every now and then, but word is out. Word is on the street. Proof's in the pudding. Way too much shit has been shown for anyone with common sense to think otherwise. And I love it for her. I still have a little bit of hope that she wakes up and gets her shit together and stops begging people for money and learns how to adult and takes care of her dogs and gets herself out of that mess. But we know it ain't going to happen. So everything that's thrown at her, she deserves it. After all the shit she's done to everybody, and still has the audacity to come on YouTube and be like, all them people that's helped me, I just respect them and I just think they're great people, but I can't help it. I just need it. I need more. I need more. I need more. It's never going to end. The thought process, the mentality that she has is like just never going to end. So watching other people give it back to her to the point that every time she tries it, they call it out before it hits the brave wing, the wavelength, is like righteous gold. Really is. Does not make me feel like a bad person, and it's not going to make me feel like a bad person. I'm so proud of those ladies, but Mo has really done it. Mo has really done it. Call me obsessive. I don't care. If someone had put you through what she put me through, you'd understand. But just like The Man in the Arena by Theodore Roosevelt. If you ain't walked in my shoes, if you ain't been in the ditch with me, you don't get to have an opinion about how I feel about it. That's how I feel. Not Ozzy. This is Callie. Crash on Ozzy's couch. I'm missing it. What's it say? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Once I got to know them, it was like, what did they ever see in her? But they're very kind people. They're very open, kind, accepting, non-judgmental people. So I get it. I get how they fell for the same thing that I fell for years before that. You know, I fell for the like strong, independent, successful woman that just hit a brick and was grieving and needed some help. I fell for the same shit. I fell for it. Oh, they're always attacking me. You know, they're always coming at me. But I totally fell for that shit too and bought it hook, line, and sinker for a solid year. And then it's like, it's not possible for one person to have all that shit happen to them and they can't, you know, every month it's the same shit. Every month it's the same shit. And then my friends, people that were my friends at that time, you know, the same bullshit to them. Yeah, it's like they seen it, they got it. And the first thing that they did was offer apologies and answers. No joke, answers. Private Discord, meet them. Like you can ask any question you want and they're going to tell you. And the closure that I got from them and now watching them give it to her is fucking glorious. Hate me, I don't care. All right, Rocco, I'm getting ready to end. Head out to cause some trouble. Uh-oh. Listen, Rocco don't play. Rocco's bringing the trouble. I'm glad I'm not on the other end of it. But I appreciate you stopping in, Rocco. I'll be back on a regular basis now. Exactly, Kimmy. Never. So, you get back, you get what you put out, right? You put out kindness and joy and, like in the grief community, offering a place for other people that have lost children to feel accepted and understood and support, and to meet others. Like, you don't even understand how rewarding that was for me to come to the internet. I'll never forget the day that all the names flowed through the chat. People that had typed out or said their child's name for the first time in a long time, and the people around them that they had been friends with for years that didn't even know, because it's just like, you don't talk about it. And all of a sudden, people are talking about it. And I just cannot even, I can tell you that feeling was very close to meeting my son for the first time. It was very similar to that. It's like, oh my gosh, there's so many of us. There's so many of us. Why are we all quiet? And that fueled my fire. I desperately wanted a place where other Vilomahs could feel what I felt in that moment. I needed that. Not for me, not just for me. I needed that for all of us that have been at that low desperation. That, how do you get through this? How do you get back up? How do you ever laugh again? I needed that so much. And that's all I wanted on this platform was that. That's all I wanted. And I'm not ashamed to say that I know I can do that. I know that I can create that space. I can create that community. But I very quickly fucking learned that's the very thing that will get you attacked and smeared and dragged all over this fucking platform. And so, do I want to take those people with me? No. Do I want their vulnerabilities, their tragedies, their losses to become weapons? Absolutely not. I still hope to one day have a community where other Vilomahs can come together. Not only in their dark moments or their sad, desperate times, not only through the pain and the suffering, but to see them come out of that on the other side and smile and find joy and not have to go through addiction, not have to go through alcoholism, not have to go doctor shopping, not have to be told by 25,000 freaking doctors that grief and depression are the same thing. I still really want that. I really want that. I want that community where grief and mental health isn't wrapped up into one ball, because it's not. It is not. I've done my research on this. Not only lived it, I have researched this for almost 10 years. I've met with professionals. I've talked with the mental health professionals. I've talked with the doctors, the grief coaches. I've done this work. And I want nothing more than to share it with people. Thank you, Wandering. Have a great night. I want nothing more than to share it with people. Because that level of desperation and losing your child, especially when it's your only child, there's just nothing that compares. There's absolutely nothing that compares. You can burn my house down. You can crash my car. You can take my job. You can empty my bank accounts. You can burn my financial portfolios. You can take every friend I've ever had. You can, my whole family, wipe them off. And it doesn't compare to the loneliness and the isolation and the confusion, the devastation. There's nothing that compares to it. And in the last few years, there's been so many people that I've gotten to see come out the other side and find joy and be proud of themselves and not have to suffer through addiction. And I have so much respect for them. They're always going to be my people. I'm always going to love and care about them. And I would love to have that here. I would love to have regular, let's get together and talk about grief. Let's talk about finding happy again. Let's talk about finding a purpose again. Let's talk about finding an identity again. But with that comes a risk. And the risk is the people that don't like you are going to use anything they can to get to you. And because they can't use my life to make me feel shame, they can't use my decisions today, my life today to make me feel shame, they're going to use yours. And I'm not willing to sacrifice that. So I don't know. My close friends and I were talking about, like opening up a grief Discord again. That was a lot of fun. That was a good experience, I think, for a short time. And then it, like everything else on YouTube, if you're proud of it and if it's good and happy and brings you joy and you're passionate about it, they're going to destroy it. Grown adults, they're going to destroy it. So I don't know. Maybe it's a discussion for another day. Thank you, who said that in the chat about my picture. I took that not that long ago. That was a couple weeks ago. I love my babies. All right, y'all have a wonderful evening. I'll be back in a couple of days. And I want to talk about the tick thing and I don't know, a little bit of everything. So I hope you guys all have a wonderful evening. Find joy. Wake up tomorrow. When you go to bed tonight, instead of thinking about the things that you feel like are nagging you or stressing you out or things that you don't want to think about the things that you completed and accomplished and finished and did. And that'll help you go to sleep. When you wake up in the morning, you'll be a little more positive, a little more upbeat. If all you do tomorrow is get out of bed and take a shower, you did something, right? Don't beat yourself up. Life sucks for a lot of people right now, but you're going to come out the other end of it. You're going to find happy and joy. That should be your goal every day, to find some joy. Just find some peace. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to each other. And I will see you in a couple days. Take care.